Hi, everyone. I think it was live already, and I couldn't tell it was live. It was frozen on this end. This is a very special lunchtime with Anna. The reason why is what the three panelists will be talking about and how much change needs to be made. My three guests today are Miss Shelley, Mr. Brown, and over the phone, excuse me, is Miss Tina. Uh, guys, please, please, please get to know them. You will be seeing their faces a lot. We plan on collaborating together to getting some things out to the community that very much need to be out there. I highly respect the three of them. And I just want you guys to know that this show, when as soon as you can, whenever you watch it, I know it's Saturday, I know it's early, I know people are chilling with their family. That's cool. And I get it. But as soon as you guys can, watch this and share it because it needs to be out there. I went out of my way to make sure that I made this happen on a Saturday morning, as well as they did. They made sure they were up and ready to go. So we'll start with Miss Shelley. If you can please introduce yourself and tell us exactly why you're here. And again, I wanted to thank you guys, Miss Shelley, Mr. Brown, and Miss Tina for coming on my platform on an early Saturday morning. I know we got better things to do sometimes. So go ahead, Miss Shelley.
Yes, and first I must say thank you so very much as well, Miss Anna, for what you're doing for the community. And you are also making it possible for voices to be heard, some voices that does not have the possibility to be heard. You're making a difference by allowing this. And I'm sorry, I truly, truly from the bottom of my heart, not only thanking you, but really, really appreciate your advocacy and what
I
you're doing.
want to hug you.
Okay. Yes, for everyone who wants to know about me and my job duties and what I do, I'm going to take a very short time and explain that because we have a lot to cover today. But I just want to make sure that everyone is familiar with what I do. So my name is Professor Dr. Shelli S. Jahannanan. I am a human rights defender. I am counsel, legal representative to the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights in Geneva, Switzerland, and also granted permission by the government of the United States of America to actually carry out these duties for human rights, which is much needed. I am also what's called an ombudswoman. And if anyone is familiar with what the ombudswoman or ombudsman's job duty is, that the duty to investigate whether it's human rights violation or whether it's a crime, but it's involved investigation. And in my case, I'll conduct investigation on behalf of the United Nations here in the United States, not only in one country, but in the entire and responsible for the entire United States of America and also abroad. So if we're called upon from someone abroad and saying that we need help because there's human rights violation, then we're obligated to also attend and to, conduct whatever investigation necessary. And so this duty, I love it. It's prestigious, and we do a lot. We make a difference in communities. For example, we have communities here that are corrupt, and in my county, Clayton County, is very corrupt. The legal system is very corrupt. People are dying at the hands of the injustice that they're inflicting, especially elderly victims. And so we have to also be advocates for the elderly people. So, as I'm also international lecturer and professor in human rights law as well. I've attended the Yale University School of Law, Case Western Reserve School of Law, University of Pennsylvania School of Law, Duke University School of Law, and Leiden University is also called the College of The Hague for International Law, and also Nanyang Technological College in Singapore. And this one that's not related to that is that I'm also a professional journalist as well. So it's just, a lot that I do. And I love it because I like to be challenged in doing different things. One say it helps the community lives and restore justice and equality that is so much needed, that have been deprived every day by victims of human rights violations. And that's what we're fighting for, to eliminate these types of bureaucracy, bigotry, um, violation, whatever the case may be. So I have a very full job duty. And so I have a family as well too. So now you have to juggle a family. I'm also a car dealer. So doing the dealership and fighting human rights any day, any time. And Mr. Brown is aware of what I do. You can go into details of what I do. So yes, I just wanted to give that short and brief explanation. And if you have any question as to my duties, then just let me know, so I'll be quick to respond, and so we can go on, because a
No,
long.
you're okay with your time. Uh, Miss Shelley, I have to mention, I thought my resume was pretty impressive. Okay. You leave my resume in dust. And I'll tell you, anybody who knows Lunchtime with Anna, they know Anna's always busy. Like, I don't have time. Like, just tell me what we're doing and it'll get done. So I look, from one strong woman to another, a huge round of applause. Continue doing what you do. I mean, I just want to hug you because I love to see women doing what you do.
Thank
I
you.
just love it.
Thank
I can imagine you don't have time and there's never a resting point because your mind is always going with something to do, because that's how mine is.
and let me just respond to what you're saying. We live in a male dominant society, and everything is him. If you're looking and reading something and they're talking about a judge, they use the word his. Everything is male dominant, is for the man.
Mhm.
So one of what I do too, which is unique, because women every day across the country and across the world are making this huge dent in that glass ceiling of where everything is male, masculine. And I love ombudswoman and not ombudsman. So there's no way I'm going to be calling myself an ombudsman because I'm a woman. So
That's right.
that's just another achievement for the women to
Absolutely. 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 And Mr. Brown, we're not being male bashers at all because I know you're the only male on this panel. But when I see women that excel, it's just like you're my kind of woman. You're the woman I want around because you're ambitious. And I don't have time to be babying anybody. Just let's get it done. That's it. That's it. Let's get it done. I have a lot of people around me, especially men, that they say that they love the spirit when they have a woman around, when they have a woman around, and that they're able to get that other side because we go at business very different. So just big ups to you, Miss Shelley. I absolutely love it.
thank you.
Um, so Miss Shelley, we're here. First part, we're going to be talking about two parts today. The first part we're going to be talking about, because she's talking about two different cases. The first case is Mr. Thomas, and she will go into what has been filed within the courts and speak of that, through, what she knows to be her truth from 2017 till now. Um, on the other hand, we will also be talking on the second half to Mr. Charles. And you guys will hear about what's happened with him. So if you guys have any questions or concern, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the show, please call in to Lunchtime with Anna at 321-252-8084 if you'd like to call them and ask them any questions while we're live. While we're live. Okay, go ahead, Miss Shelley, and tell us about Mr. Thomas.
Okay. This is a very, very heartbreaking for me. And the reason is that with all our advocacy and what we did, the victim actually died at the hands of Clayton County, the court system, the sheriff department, and they actually stressed this man out, 76 years old, harassed him several attempts to evict him from a home in which he is also a part owner of that home. And unfortunately, in January 4th, 2022, in the very cold 25 degrees weather condition, Mr. Thomas was evicted, him and his family, without any prior warning to letting them know to be prepared. Deputies knocked on his door, threw him out. His wife, bedridden, Patricia Thomas, she's in a wheelchair. And that cold weather. Mr. Thomas caught a stress fare attack and was taken to the hospital. He never recovered, and it ended up in his death. In my office and the United Nations are not going to tolerate these things anymore, and we're going to fight, not because he's dead. It does not stop here. We're going to fight for justice and hope that perhaps one day something will come over these laws, may be changed, and could be in honor of Mr. Edward Earl Thomas. So I just gave a brief synopsis of the end, what happened to Mr. Thomas. So I can get into details now how we reach where we are.
And so before you do that, I'd like to give my condolences to the
Thank
Thomas family for the loss of their husband,
you. Yes.
father, and I'm sure grandfather. Um, that is horrible. And to recap, what she pretty much said was, this has been her client since 2017.
2013.
2007. I'm sorry. I knew that. 2007. Um, she's been, and she'll go into the details of what she, left out for you guys to see. But long story short, he was put out of his property without warning, 25-degree weather, because we all know that I believe around the 4th was when it snowed in Georgia. Is that correct? It was around that time. 25-degree weather. He was put out, never was able to bounce back, and has now transitioned to a better life. This was an eviction that was done predatorily towards a client of
And, and,
his, Mr.
and,
Thomas.
and please, to state this, they both were disabled and protected class of people that are protected under the Americans with Disabilities Act. And
Absolutely.
yeah, as I said, that the wife is bedridden. And what deputy would have showed up at the home and the weather condition was an issue, but you're seeing that these are two disabled people and a wife in a wheelchair, and you wheel her out, throw out on the street. And not only that, at the time, I go on the phone and I warn them. I says, if anything happened to Mr. Thomas, I'm going to hold you to account. I also let them know that Mr. Thomas had several cases pending even in federal courts, and I did it because I filed them in his behalf, and they did not listen. The sheriff was also told not to participate in an illegal eviction, and if he does, the consequences of what? The judges were warned also, you participate, you continue to do this, and something happened, you will be held to account. So they were warned ahead of time what the consequence would be. I should not have to warn them. They
No.
took oaths of office to uphold the law. I should not have to tell them the consequence of the auction if something happened to Mr. Thomas. No.
So I wanna mention something. Guys, we vote who we vote in all of those positions. We need to see who we're voting into office because now you have a whole mess that she's going through. Because obviously this was, well, I think that the sheriff right now in Clayton County, I believe, it's Victor Hill, correct? Or is somebody temporarily in his spot?
Yes, somebody temporary in his spot. Yes.
Okay.
And
So,
it started with Victor Hill when he was there and we wrote the letter, and Victor Hill never did the eviction. And now that he's not there, this person did it. And just want to say something real sad and inhumane. About 3 days ago, I called the sheriff department, asked for the eviction division. And when the lady came in the note, she told me her name and I had it written down. And I was telling her, I said, look, this is Dr. Jahan from the United Nations High Commissioner's Office. And I says, I just called to let you know that the elderly gentleman that you guys have evicted in this 25 degrees weather condition, that he passed away, that he died. The lady basically told me that she did not care and she hung the phone up on me. I was able to say to her, you're a cold blooded creature. I was able to get that in because I don't know. I mean, if we were to hear, oh, ma'am, my condolences, I'm pretty sure that they didn't mean for something like that to happen. I thought I would get, but she basically said she did not care and hung the phone up on me. And I wrote her name down. Yes.
and okay, so I'm very familiar with Clayton County. That is actually when I am in Georgia. That is the county, which I'm proud of the election wise, where what we did for the state of Georgia. That was the turning point. It was our county. We were on that end. Clayton County did wonderful round of applause, and they're working on a lot of things to improve a lot of things. However, that attitude that you're talking about, I experience that so much when I'm there. It's almost like, well, I don't care. I'm still going to do whatever I do, and that's it. And you're like, uh, that's not the way it goes, you know? So I've learned, and I kind of thank the fact that I lived in Clayton County because it helped me be more aggressive towards fighting. Does that make sense? Because they have that attitude that you're talking about. And you have no choice but to defend yourself because if you don't, and they'll cover it up as if it never happened, they don't see it anywhere. Am I telling the truth, Miss Shelley? Because it's happened to me over and
Yes,
over and over again.
I myself am a victim. And we're going to do another show to go into my issues that don't care, that from the wild west situation, I am the sheriff, I am the this, I am the that, I'm a judge, you're nobody. When I do something to you, don't even try to fight. If you fight, we retaliate against you. Yes, I've been retaliated against, and it is unbelievable. Mr. Brown knows to some extent, and Miss Tina, that I've explained that they did to me and my family as well. And that was one of the turning point and one of the reasons that made me continue to fight, to be educated, to get law school training, to do all what I have to do to come back to help the community. because what happened to me was unbelievable. Oh yes, they will cover it up
Oh yeah.
because in Mr. Thomas' situation, and we're going through this part, and later we'll come back and say how we got here. But in his situation, when he got to the hospital, um, first the family received a call on Monday, and they said on Monday that um, he was on life support, and we said, "Oh my God, Jesus!" Later on, Charles is off. Um, later on, okay. Later on that day, the son called back and say, "Don't worry." The hospital said it was a different Mr. Thomas, is a mix-up. That this is with a different date of birth, but just the same name, and he's not on life support. That is okay. So we relaxed a little bit, and then I was told information, and this at the hospital, all this happening, that they put some code on his chart that the doctor should not be talking to his wife. And they did not know who put the code in it, and that they were going to look in to find out who put the code on that. So I'm believing that the first person that called did not know when they told him that he was on them, oh, he was on life support. And somebody now that did not want the family to know, say, called them back and told them that's not the case. So the wait end, this is the reason how I know that's the fact. Because he was on life support. Now, this 3 days ago, 3 o'clock in the morning, we got a call. The family was called to come to the hospital because his heart stopped beating. And you tell me there was a discussion where somebody called and say, "What rehab you want Mr. Thomas to go to for the breathing?" The same day. How did he end up dead that same night? Because he was fit enough to go to rehab. So the son and the daughter, when they got the call, they went over there because they said his heart stopped beating, and they pulled the plug on him. And his wife is the next of kin. I don't know why the son and the daughter, the hospital allows them to do that. So I'm saying you should not pull, give no authority to pull anything. You should have wait until the morning to call me and let me know what happened, and so we can go ahead and deal with the situation. And so um, they were able to see him in through a glass. They were not able to go in there or to touch him or anything. They were able, and what's funny about it, I know they normally do autopsy. I don't think there was none done in this case. They're going to cremate him on Saturday, and there is no autopsy, to my knowledge, that was performed in Mr. Edward Thomas. So I don't know why they want him to bury, to be cremated, cremated without having an autopsy done. I thought that's something that was required because he went to
Is
the.
it possible to request an autopsy?
I'm
Is
going to
that
check
possible?
on Monday. I'm going to check in on Monday, but I do know that the family had scheduled for cremation on Saturday, so I will call the hospital. I did call the hospital and spoke with someone and let them know we're doing an investigation. And the lady spoke with me. The doctor was supposed to call the wife so that I could be in a three-way. The doctor didn't call, so I have to write them a letter because no one have actually acted or do anything, concerning that. So the whole situation is just ridiculous, and there's questions as how did it go from you can go to rehab to his death? Why, who and why was a code put on his chart not to talk to his wife? Um, why did they call and say he was in life support? Why did they call back and say it's not him, it's another person with the same last name, and a different date of birth? So all these are, questions as to the care that they gave to him in the hospital while he was there. So, we have questions at the hospital as well.
Absolutely. And may I ask which one was he at? Transported to?
The Southern Regional Hospital.
I've been a patient there before. Not my favorite hospital to go
Yeah.
to.
And one thing I do know for fact, because when we talk about the other issue, because we have to stay in point,
Mhm.
when we talk about the issue with mine, I was pregnant and they caused me to lose a baby. And when we got to the Southern Regional Hospital, the doctors there covered it up and make it seem as if that I was not pregnant, and so they are known, because I think the hospital is somehow funded by Clayton County government, so they're not going to want you to or give you information that you're going to be using against the county. So I have to not subpoena. I think they'll just give us the records. We got to pay for it. But if we need additional records, then we will, have to subpoena. I wanted to find out with the doctors that treated him. They said several doctors, but there's a main doctor. So we're trying to get all of that information. Yes.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so we have to stay in point with what we're doing. That's for another time to talk about the or my incident. But today is about Mr. Thomas and his death, and horrifying and cruel and inhumane that they would take the life of an innocent man. Mr. Thomas was a very quiet person, very anything he can do for you. Mr. Brown met him the last time he came to my toy giveaway, because we give away toys at Christmas time. And he was helping to bring the bags in and helping. And that was the last time I saw him alive. I didn't know that, that was the last time I was going to see him. And the situation happened beginning January. And, he passed away. And so I have to be strong. Unfortunately, there can't be too much emotion. You see how it is, because I have to stay strong to fight for him and carry on the fight, even though he's not here. Um, Support the family. His wife is in a wheelchair, so we have to support her. She doesn't have him anymore, and
So, is there any support that maybe us as a community, do you think, that we can give his wife, Mrs. Thomas? And you guys, we're gonna try to see if we can have them come in after they deal with what's at the front burner right now. I would love and let them know, please, that on my behalf, they're welcome anytime. They just call me, along with you guys, and they're welcome to come at any time on this platform. Um, so, all right, Christine, if you could share that with me privately, and I'll make sure that it gets out to them. Um, I'm in very close contact with the both of them very much, so I'll go ahead and what she wrote here was, Anna, I have contact info for someone who can get her answers and has a license to do it in Georgia. And she wrote, yes, ma'am. So, and this is the reason why we do these broadcasts, because you want to be able to find these people who can connect things and maybe connect the dots of things that maybe one of us can't get for whatever reason. But I'll tell you one thing, the county that I reside in Georgia, you have got to always have documentation. I don't care if it's an email, paper trail somewhere. Because if you don't, this is what happened. And no matter what, she still had a paper trail. Like if you hear Miss Shelli tell the story, there is a paper trail.
oh yes,
And
ma'am.
they still did what they wanted.
Yes, I'm professional and I have to keep it. We have big files. Like I said, we're investigative agency, and so I'm also a member of the United Nations Association of the United States of America, UNA USA, which is active in all 50 states in Georgia. So yes, we are licensed to investigate human rights violation, corruption. Not too many people do what I do because mostly they're afraid of the judges, they're afraid of retaliation, they're afraid of the county. Which so not a lot of people sometimes, oh yes, I can, and then hand back from them again because they don't. But we truly investigate these situation, and I don't want to get off message here, but I just wanted to let you know why sometimes the people don't want to do it. Recently, we have filed claims because I'm also counsel, which is an attorney for United Nations, and we filed claims against the bonds of those sheriff deputies and judges, and we have their bonds, and we submitted to the insurance company. So yesterday, when they checked my business box came back, I've got something with the IRS after my husband filing taxes for all these years. The IRS are now decided to audit my husband just as this period of time. A letter coming from the county with the tax commissioner uh, threatens to level $30,000 and file some lien against my property. So all of these was not in place until just as we're doing this. And sometimes I get phone calls and all of that. So these are definitely acts of retaliation. But guess what? I don't worry about them because I know how to handle them. So just show you sometimes why people would reluctant to do because they, afraid of being arrested. For example, get back to Mr. Thomas' situation. When I accompanied him to the court, if I've investigated from 2013 up until that time, and when I go inside the court, this magistrate by the name of Mr. Brown, Richard Brown, is a magistrate over there, and he decided that he was going to interrogate me in the court and he was going to threaten me. And he put his phone in the volume and brought it up while he called my office and was interrogating my secretary over the phone, asking him a bunch of questions. He was on loudspeaker and, all the, so many questions. And he was telling her, sir, this is it. And so where's her office? What? And he was just interrogating my secretary over the phone. And so he also threatens me. He threatens to have me abducted from the courthouse and have me falsely imprisoned in the county jail. And I did nothing. Here's what I did. I filed a motion to intervene in the case in behalf of the United Nations. And the reason being is that I investigated the case and I know firsthand what Mr. Thomas was going through. And so I wanted to go to the court and to actually advocate for him. And I could also represent him, whichever, because the rights was given to me by the United States government and the High Commissioner. And so he told me he did not recognize me. And he go to a point where when he told me sit down in the courtroom like a child and do not move. And at the point when I wanted to use the bathroom, he says to me, I'm sorry,
It's okay. If you need to take a drink.
I have to beg him for the right to use the bathroom. So look at this, me being an international human rights official, which is his official because it's his superior because I was given the right to monitor, okay, to and oversee the government of the United States of America and all these agencies, which one of them is the court system, and to make sure that they don't violate human rights and fundamental freedoms. So he is holding me hostage in the court where I can't leave, and I have to beg him for a chance when I want to go to the bathroom. And so he also told the sheriff deputy that was in court, and I have an affidavit of someone that was there that can corroborate everything that I said. And so he told he asked the deputy and bailiff to call in front of Clayton County Courthouse. You know that courthouse on Tower Boulevard. And when you go in, you have to check the security. And he asked them call and tell her not to leave Major leave the courthouse. But when I got from the bathroom, I was able to slip in the back where you go to the sheriff department and go down at that back entrance and was able to flee the courthouse without me being falsely um, abducted and incarcerated. He already held me hostage in the court. That's false imprisonment. But then he was
Absolutely.
going to take it to another level. And that he was going to issue a warrant for me. I've not seen the warrant as yet because he doesn't have any legal rights under any law to issue a warrant for me. I am the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. He have no authority and no jurisdiction to do no such thing. So he believed that I was going to just get in my corner and don't interfere anymore. And before I get there, he was joining with the lawyer for the other side to do that. And here's one thing I was leaving out. When I was not there, Mr. Thomas had no representation. He is elderly, not schooled in the law, not too much education. That's why I have to do everything for them and don't know what he's doing. That magistrate, along with the lawyer for the other side, forced Mr. Thomas in court under duress to sign over his rights and give up the property under duress in open court. So I contacted the sheriff department, Victor Hill, and asked for a videotape, which I have a right to do that under law. And I was told that the videotape has no volume. So why would you record a videotape with no volume? And in the law after Brian Nichols' shooting in Fulton County, the law was changed to make the duty of every sheriff in all 100 and something county here in Georgia that they must record every hearing before the court, and the people have the right to request a copy of those tapes. So they helped to
Absolutely.
what he did because that would show him, all the legal things he did, interrogating me. I even say to the point of torture because people don't realize they believe torture. You have to hold somebody down in water. If you really, and waterboarding and all of that. But when you put somebody into a position like what you do, questioning them, threatening you're going to, abduct them and doing that, that's a form of torture. I've learned that in law school. So I was
Absolutely.
also tortured and have to flee the courthouse for my life. In fair, for my life. Yes. And so I filed an appeal in behalf of Mr. Thomas because he did not have legal representation. I filed an appeal and appealed it to the state court for what's called a trial de novo, which is new trial in English, a trial de novo in state court. And that magistrate reached over in state court, interfered, and dismissed the appeal. I filed it in Superior Court. Superior Court never gave Mr. Thomas a chance to be heard. I filed a writ of mandamus in federal court, and all this magistrate has to do is to call the judge over there, dismiss it. So he makes sure that in every area, Mr. Thomas never got due process of law at one point, and that there was no recourse for Mr. Thomas. Yes, and this is the man who took an oath of office to uphold the law. And so how we reached at the illegal eviction, he when my office wrote him and say, we're going to hold you to account, what you're doing is illegal, and threaten him legally that he can't do that. Look what he did. He did in conspire with two other magistrates, and these are African Americans, people that did this to him, to Mr. Thomas, and conspire with a female magistrate and Hill. Her last name is Wright Hill, Keisha Wright Hill, and the other one was Miss George. And so neither of those magistrates presided over the case. So look at how illegal this is. If a magistrate or a judge is not presided over the case, they cannot issue no rulings because they never saw the person, had nothing to do with the case. So the first order, illegal order based on conspiracy, was issued now because Brown removed himself temporary and supervising it in the back and put up Miss Wright Hill to send out this illegal order. So when we received it, I wrote her back and I warned her of the consequence of her action and that she never preside over the case. She have absolutely no rights under any law to do what she's doing. It's illegal. So then back in 2021, this happened around July. I went over there to tell Mr. Thomas what happened. And he came, I said, come to the living room. And I said, I'm talking to him. And while I started to talk to him, he started breathing like he can't breathe, difficulty breathing. And then I said, oh my God, do you want me to call an ambulance? And it resulted into Mr. Thomas took an attack that he almost died. So this is not the first time that happened to him. I have a video on my phone. I have to find out my old phone and get that video. So Mr. Thomas was rushed to the hospital. And the doctor says he barely survived. He almost died. And this was back in 2021, July. I wrote to them and I told them what happened. And I asked them to stop, to respect human rights, fundamental freedoms, and respect Mr. Thomas. Because look, Mr. Thomas had a lien of $250,000 filed on that property and a UCC financing statement one. What that do, that declares Mr. Thomas was called a secured party to the property, and no judge or sheriff can determine whether or not he's a homeowner unless it's taken before a jury, before the court. So he was deprived of his right on that day, you see, as an owner to the property. And that $250,000 was recorded because of tens of thousands of dollars where he paid towards that fraudulent company, and they ripped him off. So that lien was placed on the property, and it's even there now. I know that because I renewed it. And so they came, and in that situation in 2021, he went to the hospital, couldn't breathe, almost died. The doctor said if he never got there, the time he got there, he would have died. And thank God, he recovered and he came back to the home, and I continued to, legally represent them as their attorney. And so now, after that, there was no communication to say, look, we're coming to put you out, prior to them coming there. Because I believe Mr. Thomas would be alive today had they told him because that they were coming, so he would be prepared. And so the morning early, I was in my home, and his son was outside and saying they just come and throwing everything out. So I said, he went back. I said I need to talk to them, and I spoke with the deputy A. Brown, and the next deputy failed to give his name, and it just say his name was Don. And over the phone, I said, listen, you guys, what you all are doing is illegal. I said, Mr. Thomas had cases pending in federal court and in the state court. There's a violation of due process.
Absolutely.
Okay, you can't do this. I'm warning you of your consequence. If you evict him illegally and anything happened to him or his family, take my name down. I'm going to hold you to account. And I warned them, and they left and then came back and went up with it. So then I said, what's the name of your supervisor? And he gave me the name, a man by the name of Lieutenant Devines. I called Mr. Devines and I explained the situation. I said, you have your deputy out there coming into an illegal act, and you need to act right now to stop this from happening. And so he told me that they were within their rights, that they didn't do anything wrong, that they have all rights to put them out, the Thomases out in the code without notifying them. So I said, I'm concerned, what type of supervisor are you? What type of law
Absolutely.
enforcement are you? I said, for that type of statement that you're making about two elderly disabled people being put out of their home in this cold weather, I said, I question your not only your judgment, but your whole integrity as a law enforcement officer, that you would be condoning something like this and done nothing to stop it. And so they
You're
told
correct. Hmm.
me to do it. And so what's happened now is that my son happens to be there. He said to me, Mom, I hope I never again in my life witness something like what happened, because it scarred me. And so he said what he described was that Mr. Thomas was, because we had a dealership, and Mr. Thomas was saying, uh, please take my stuff. Please put them in your box truck. I'm begging you. And he's telling him, calming him down. Yes, we're going to help you. And he said what he described was like he can't breathe at all, like the breath was leaving his body. 911 came and got him, rushed him to the hospital for the second time. And so I think they took him to First Piedmont, but that hospital don't keep anybody there, because my husband got COVID, and they just send him back out. So when he came home, it was the same problem. They discharged him and he was still sick. So he was taken to Southern Regional Hospital, and he was hospitalized from January 5th until the unfortunate death on January, um, just a couple of days ago, like 3 days from today, that he died in the hospital under these type of circumstances where we don't know why. The doctor was told not to talk to his wife. We don't know why they called and say he was on life support, but called back and say no, he's not. And then it ended up that he was indeed in life support, because then they say his heart stopped beating, and his son called 3 o'clock in the morning and crying like a baby. I will never forget. He said, so my husband said, what happened? He said, my dad died. They said the heart stopped beating, and he was just crying. And I could remember hearing his son's voice telling the deputies, if anything happened to my father, you're going to be held to account. I remember. I remember because I was on the phone listening, and this is a code calculated. I don't have word to describe something like this. That,
And
that
there isn't. When you have an elder, you have two elders. We're dealing with two elders, and they were disabled. 76 years old. Seriously?
78 years old.
I'm sorry?
78. 78 years.
78. I'm sorry. 78 years old. No, we have got to change the law, and especially starting with that county. Like I said, I've dealt with the county before, never to that extreme. It's been with the school district and other things, and it was just what you're describing, all that and more,
Yeah.
is exactly
And
what I went through.
Anna, here is another reason why this something have to be done. This is not the first elderly client that I lost in Clayton County at the hands of illegal eviction by Clayton County sheriff and the court system. In 2017, we lost Mr. Thurman Matthews, and I'm sorry, Mr. Otto Matthews. Thurman was his brother, and on both situation was that they were not. It was done illegally by the judges, illegally put out. So both evictions were illegal, and Mr. Matthews died. He never stopped stressing out. They came in, there was no warning, just the same thing like this, just threw out everything. And I had my stuff, um, which donation for my nonprofit that they just threw out too, just threw it out in the tens of thousands of dollars. And Mr. Matthews never stopped fretting over it, and he said, what's happening?" And we told him, and Mr. Matthews died at the hand of another magistrate, and this person is not was not put into office by the governor. This is the county made him a judge. See, I did not know that the county could make anybody judge. I thought that you'd have to run for that position, or if there's a vacancy, the governor appoints you temporary until you run for election. But this is the county. So they also need to be held account, because whether or not they have the right to do it, they have to make sure that the people are properly well vetted, that they're properly well trained in the field of human rights and knowing what they're doing, and that you're not going to create liability for the county and cause the deaths of people. And this particular judge, we've investigated him into other crimes, other fraud. So it's really, really a problem. And the government of Clayton County would not respond when these things happen, and they conspire with the news media, the regular media, not to air your story. I know that for a fact. The media told my son that. They told them not to air the story when you're talking about crimes and corruption in Clayton County. So all that, we need to do something about that as well. How many innocent, disabled, or whom are not disabled people, innocent victims, are they going to do this to? Can they imagine how it feels in the heart of the victim when someone showed up on their knock on their door and say, "Come, let's go," without proper preparation? How would they like that to happen to them or their family? I know they would not like that. So this is the second client and friend. They were not only clients to me, they were friends. They were people that I knew. There were people that were compassionate and people that helped the community, because they always comes out to my event and helps in the community, whether it's handing out something or toys or whatever, for my nonprofit, Clayton Providers Incorporation. That's the name of my nonprofit, and they always help. So
Absolutely.
there are people, and they're going to be missed, and they have family, and
Absolutely.
they're not dogs. And in the United States, they don't even treat dogs that badly, because we're dog lovers here. And if you do something to an animal, they come after you. So they even be treated less than dogs, less than people. And the
Mhm.
United Nations will not, I repeat that, sit and allow these type of crimes and corruption to happen to people. So we also have, they're not my only clients. We have several other clients. I had one that was evicted illegally yesterday, but I got his case 1 week ago. And before I had the time to intervene, it was too late. And it's also illegal eviction. And the court system and these sheriffs and these judges, they're taking disadvantage. They are committing crimes against the people, the taxpayers, the same people who pay their salary. Without the taxpayers, they can't be paid, or they don't have a job. And this is the way that they treat these people. They treat them as if that you're nothing. And I'm telling you this, once the major corporation comes in and say, "Get out, this is my property," it does
That's
not
right.
matter what evidence that they have to show. It's like,
Mhm.
you better get out. At no point have I ever seen that party win in court. I have another situation again where the magistrate and the paid attorney, someone said, "Get a lawyer, get a lawyer." This paid attorney sought in court with the magistrate on the other side and forced the victim under duress again to sign over her rights. She filed an appeal. Okay. And no one, the judge would not allow her to be had, and dismisses it and said, "Go ahead and throw them out." The people are not getting due process and equal protection of law, and they, meaning that their orders and judgments are void on its face as a matter of law. With due process, is denied, your judgment is void. But the people don't know this. They don't even know they can go file a motion for void judgment. And even if they file it, they're not going to win. The judges are going to dismisses the case and go out, just get out. But something have to be done because, it hurts me to the core of my being to see that elderly people are being treated in the manner in which they're treated. Yes. So I just wanted to make sure that I got that part over. Yes.
Um, guys, we we need we need the laws changed. Clayton County, for all who don't know, it is predominantly Black and Latino is the majority that's there, but predominantly Black. I'm telling you because I live in the county and I'm very, very familiar with Clayton County. All those steps she's talking about, like I said, I've dealt with it in a different way, but I've had pretty much all those attitudes she's talking about, I've had happen to myself. So I know it to be truth. Now, what can we do, Miss Shelley? What can we do as the people to help Mr. Thomas, other disabled people, other elderlies, and well, for his name, right? And anybody else who we can help. What can we do to help you help him?
Yes, Anna, this very, very, very great question. And it really takes the community. Legally, I can draw up motions, I can sue, I can do that, legally. But it takes us as a community and a whole to get together and to actually, go into action. This is what we're going to do, what we're going to do. You also talks about the laws that needed to be changed as well, and to petition the government that they in the house down there, um, and, and actually we involved the United Nations. One of the other thing is to expose as we take the first step to do today. And that's why I will always be grateful to you for this as well, so that people can know. Because if people don't really, you can say you have issues with Clayton County, I have issues, someone else, but they all we doesn't come together on these issues. And sometimes people don't not even have the chance to speak because of retaliation and threats, and they locking them up in jail, and then all this type of stuff, or intimidation of whoever it is. So it really takes the community to come together with the United Nations, sit down, and so we can think of the appropriate measures. The United States federal government must be told about this too. They must be involved in this, and just really come together. And we need help. We need help of people that are going to investigate. We need investigators, because my office does, for example, go to the hospital, go here, go, let them understand that and bring it out to the public under the resolution of United Nations 53-144, under which my office operates. One of the duty under one of the article is that when human rights violations is brought to my attention, I have a duty and the obligation. It didn't say right, it said obligation. Is different to have a right to do something. I might have a right to do something and I don't do it. It wouldn't come against me. But when I got an obligation to do something, it's something that I have to do. He said that I should not sit. And when I had this, I knew about it. He said that I must do something by decimating that, is what we're doing today, letting people know about what's going on, conduct investigation into that violation, and actually making sure that is documented. Yes, we're going to sue them, no doubt about it. But the advocacy, We were joining with Charles. I see shaking his head because he knows every time we have these discussion of, we getting together. We do trainings as well in human rights, but because of the amount of cases that I have, I'm investigating as we speak, it makes it difficult to go forward with the training because these are emergencies and we have to put them first. Every day someone is being illegally evicted, and these cases are coming to me. And so, we have to make sure that Mr. Thomas' death is not in vain. We have to make sure that, we're hoping that we'll get some sort of legislation or something that was going to actually set this as a precedent, and to make sure that we don't have another elderly person that's treated in this type of inhumane, cruel situation, thrown out of their home in 25 degrees weather when COVID is out there. We're to make sure that this does not happen to another human being, but we have to specially advocate on behalf of the elderly people because sometimes they can't do it for themselves. They need your help. We one day, at some point of life loss, are going to get in the same situation which they're in, elderly. And we would like that somebody would come forward and say, I'm going to help you.
Absolutely.
As I stated, these people took an oath of office to uphold the law. They said that they will administer justice fairly to the rich as they do to the poor. They did not do that. They did not do that. And now, and the sad part of you saying that county being predominantly African American, but the company that filed the unlawful writ to get him out, they're Caucasian people, Jewish people. But how do you think about the three magistrates that causes death were three African Americans, two female and one male?
Wow.
That tells me something. And it's
So, again,
what
this is elderly man, 78 years old, was evicted out of his property, 25-degree weather in Georgia. As we know, it's been a very cold winter. His wife was bedridden in a wheelchair. Okay. He dies after all of this takes place. We've got to change laws. The
homeless. I
house
forgot to
law,
say, so they
and
are
me making my oath.
homeless, Anna. They are homeless. They went to a little motel. The wife and they went to a little motel and they're still at the motel. So if someone wants to donate to them, we will, I have a non-profit so they could get the tax, information on the Clayton Providers Inc. And before we end, if you would allow me an opportunity to give
Absolutely.
that information as well, is that they're there now. Their income, Anna, was around $1,200 a month. So I know this because I filed pauperous form in the courts for them when I sue on their behalf. And so now he passed away. So the wife would leave with like $600. $600 can't rent you anywhere to live. $600 can't give you anything. So they're in very terrible. The wife said they had a little insurance that would take care of the funeral possible. I hope we had money was to have an independent autopsy done because the hospital deprived them of that. And so that we could do, get that, but I don't know how much. I'm just assuming it's going to cost money for the to have an autopsy done, so we would get an independent autopsy. There was not enough time to do a GoFundMe, um, to see if we could raise money for that. So when they cremate him on Saturday, that will be it. We're not going to have anything that we could go back on. And one of the reasons why they did that is because the funeral would be about like 10,000, but cremating would be a lesser amount. And so it's a very sad situation that really affects me, and I have to actually not able to show the emotion because I have to stay strong. I have to continue to push. I got to continue to fight, and knows that this happened, but just continue in his honor and in Mr. Matthew's honor, to carry on the fight and need the community, the backings of the community behind the United Nations, so that we can make sure that what happened to Mr. Matthews and Mr. Thomas will never, never happen to another person. And I would say in the state of Georgia.
Absolutely. And it would start with us. Miss Shelley, I want you to know that myself, as a also as a Clayton County resident, I and as a human justice leader myself, who has her own organization, you can count on my support to being the first one to stand by your side
Thank
in
you.
this fight because we're going to win.
Thank
We're
you.
going to win. Um, this has to change.
Exactly.
Disability hits very close to my home because I do have a special needs teenage son.
Yes.
So I can never imagine him going through anything like this. Thank you, Christine. So we have two of us. Well, with Mr. Brown, I know that's three of us that are already backing you up. And
Christina.
I'm sure you will get a lot more of the county. I would like for us to start a change.org petition
Hmm.
to get as many residents, starting with Clayton County, to sign and then move on to Georgia and the rest of the United States, because I think this story needs to be told,
Yes,
and continue to be told.
my office have jurisdiction in the entire United States. If you contact the government of the United States and the Department of State, they have information putting out there how they stand behind us and support us. That 100%. I mean, there was a petition in the Congress. That they have their commending us and all of that, and to make it a crime for attack against us. And what they do not know that all the any type of attack against me or any one of my colleague or my investigator, that the law says under that resolution that they should be investigated and prosecuted and imprisoned. So this pretty much, um, wide support under that resolution that we got. But so Anya, I also want to, so we went to the end game first, and we need to see a little bit how we get where we get. It's not going to be as lengthy as the end game. So I just wanted to state how Mr. Thomas was able to how we end up with this discovery company and how that resulted into his death. And I'm pretty sure when in 2008, when he was signing this agreement, he never thought that years later it was going to cause him to die. We never knows what's going to happen the next moment. So in or about 2008, this is how the whole thing started. Mr. Thomas entered into an agreement with the Discovery in Enterprises LLC in Marietta. And that agreement was that it was going to purchase the property, least option to buy. So the money he was paying was going up towards, some of it towards a house. In 2013, he came to my office and filed a complaint for investigation because what Discovery did is him being an elderly person, and they're dealing with lawyers that are taking disadvantage because they knows the law and he doesn't. And so what happened, they did in 13, they removed Mr. Thomas from purchase, the option to purchase, and made it now where it's only um, a regular tenant. So all those monies, tens of thousands of dollars over the period of 2008 to 13, they were able to take those monies away from him and actually leave him just a tenant with absolutely no, when you say that the US government had to involved. Once you finish this verse, if that could stay up so I could read it for some.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you like, I can read it. And please, if I get your name messed up, it is with no disrespect. I'll try my hardest. So it says from Ankenshil, Sayero, Oshosi. It says here, you say that the US government has to get involved with this. The United States is involved in the massive criminal enterprise. The system is working perfectly for them because they constructed this system for themselves. The settler colonized has no intent to have an empathy or sympathy for what they do to us as a mass, especially Africans and other people of color. This is the this is the mode of colonial production. It is what we must know that we have to fight on the imperialist and capitalist monster end.
Yes, yes, and it's just the bureaucracy. What he's just said is just the bureaucracy in which the United States, what you would see, they have things out, but the devil's in the detail. It's really not as is what they say. But when it comes to the United Nations, it's why United Nations have involved. For example, United States government in 2008 signed an agreement. This is how my organization got involved to carry out the duties on behalf of the United Nations. So the United States was a party to that agreement, and from Articles 1 through 20. So the next time that we speak, I will show you the United Nations article and the bunch of documents that I have that specifically says this is what you do, this is what you do. The government cannot do certain things. And so in that article spells it out. One of the duty of the United States government is to protect. They must protect the citizens. I mean, this is something that they signed. Look at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. You
Mhm.
see, the international covenant, the civil and political rights. Look at all of those there. But of course, we still go through the bureaucracy. We're still going through law enforcement thinks that, oh, we can just do this to you, do when you're nobody, don't speak. So all those are illegal, is what I'm saying. And if you look at all these laws and things that that was mandates was put in by the United Nations, in which my office is involved, is that these are illegal and something must be done about it, because as the United Nations, the leader of the world, they cannot have these type of things happen where elderly people are being, I'm really saying, murdered by
Absolutely.
out in this cold weather. When COVID is right in there. Oh, well, come on.
And that's what I don't understand. So
That their
I thought
conduct must be condemned by every every leader, every
absolutely.
good decent law enforcement, because I wanted to believe it's not all of them would have done what they did to Mr. Thomas on the 4th of January. So go ahead.
Okay, what I wanted to add, what did I miss something? Or as far as I was concerned, during this pandemic, I thought they weren't doing evictions, or was this lifted?
From what I was told, that is lifted, but there are certain things that are lifted. But what happened? There's another question. There is an it's lifted. For example, they did not renew this right for the court to go forward with trials. They did not renew it, but Clayton County took that into considerations, and all trials are now online. So they did not have to be carrying out these illegal things. But if you understand this, how they make money, it's lucrative. This is how they make. The more people they try to their homes, is the more money they make. So a lot of times it's about money. a lot of times. Yes. So there's a question here that says, how is the United Nations effective with implementing drastic necessary changes for the mass? As I see it, the United Nations is a construct that is not even honored by the United States government. So my answer to that is that I'm not aware of what, everybody have an opinion to share. And of course, we welcome everybody's opinion. But I'm not, when you say the United Nations is not, it's moved, so I can't see it. I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The United Nations is a construct that is not even honored by the United States government. So, what I would have to say about, I don't know, I can't comment on what you're saying, but I do know there's rules and laws that are in place, and I'm thinking, about 2 months ago, I was in Congress. We couldn't show up in person because of COVID, but we went via Zoom. And in all 50 United States, we all came together for UNA USA, and President Biden and every leader that were there had actually, they spoke with us. They're working with President Biden on a lot of different things right now. He's appointing, different people to serve within the government. The United Nations is the leader of the world, of the entire world, and as far as I know, they're respected by the world. um, Had it not been for the United Nations, there's a lot of illegal things that would have happened. They are monitoring wars. They're, climate change. I mean, so many things that they're doing. So yes, everyone would have their opinion, and I will not I cannot convince them otherwise. But I have the right at the same time to disagree. And I believe the United Nations is respected because of the work that they do all over the world. So, that's what I want to state concerning that. I mean, I don't know why this person have the make the statement that they made, but I just have to disagree with that, because I do know that our advocacy is to change these type of violations that are happening to people. And the High Commissioner with the United Nations, we work under him. He's our boss. I think now is a lady, Michelle, can't say her last name. So I he's welcome to his opinion, of course, and we welcome it, but I just have to disagree with that.
Certainly, and that's okay. That's why we are
Mhm.
all citizens of the United States of America. We
I'm
need
always
to be to
everybody have
that.
to speak, yes.
Absolutely. So Miss Shelley, um, you've already stated what we can do.
Mhm.
I would like for you, before we go on to Mr. Charles, to please give your information for us to go ahead and reach out to Miss Thomas by sending a donation, if at all possible, or any other way that we know how to help. How can they reach you so you can reach her?
Okay, so before that, Anna, as I was explaining real briefly,
Hmm.
this company, how Mr. Thomas got where he is today, and then the
Okay.
question comes in, and then I wasn't able to finish. So before I give the
Oh, no,
information,
no, no. It's okay. Go ahead. Continue.
and yeah, and so that company defrauded Mr. Thomas out of tens of thousands of dollars that he believed he was paying towards the ownership of the property. And so I think they had forged a signature on a document that I got a copy of it as well. And so Mr. Thomas, that was when he came to me in 2013 and said, how can I help? And we started to investigate. And as I stated before, if you look online, you will see their profile and, the bad things. They have better business complaint, all of that. And so the attorney, that attorney, of course, from one thing that I noticed that they do, Anna, is when there's a case filed against them, they're able to tell the clerk what magistrate or what judge that they want the case to go. And sometimes if they don't do that, have you seen the way where the magistrate or the judge saying the case was transferred from Browns to Jones and from to get to the proper judge that a magistrate is going to actually violate the rights of the victim and give them the judgment. So a lot of the lawyers, they're not, they don't know the law to an extent to win cases, and I always want to challenge some of them when it comes to the law. And they know the judges. They don't know the law, they know the judge. And that makes it more powerful for them.
Oh
Because
yeah,
even if they told them
same is infamous for that.
stuff,
Mhm.
stupid stuff, then they win because they knows the judge.
It's a connection.
Yeah,
A word we use in Puerto Rico is eso es una pala. So it's connection.
exactly.
Latinos, I hate to say this, but us people of color, Latinos and Blacks, we're infamous for having that connection.
Exactly.
And I say that as a Latina, as a Puerto Rican, as one of your sisters, you guys, and this is for my people. I can't stand that. I just can't.
Exactly. Because the
It's a
system,
good thing if you're doing the right thing. It's a
ex-
bad thing if you're doing the wrong thing.
exactly. Because the system is turns out not to be a system of justice for the poor, but indeed a system of injustice. People goes
Absolutely.
there with their claim and their claim gets dismissed, go out. I mean, there is no recourse. So with this now being a lawyer that Mr. Thomas was dealing with, and before the court, there was no respect for the rules of law, and there was no respect for the litigants that was there. Look the way I explained to you the way I was treated. And so he conspired now, have that lawyer, and he's going to have the nerve to talk. Do you know the amount of time I filed a complaint with the Bar Association against this woman here, and the bar doesn't do anything? I said, why you think they didn't do anything? Because I registered. I don't have to have membership with come to 50 United States and say, I need membership from you because I work on the international level and I have jurisdiction in any part of the world when human rights are being violated. And the High Commissioner said there is no geographical restriction to say, if you notice in the county office that, oh, I can't go to another county or they can't go to another state, they can only stay in the borders of Georgia and can't go to Tennessee or anywhere. But in my jurisdiction, there is no restriction within
There's
the
no, yeah,
United States and abroad. So we don't need membership because the United Nations is a sovereign nation. And so there's like a country, a worldwide country by itself. But however, you have to respect the judiciary to send them information and say, look, I am here. This is my name. This is my office. This is my job duty. And this is what we do. So you
absolutely.
respect them and let them know, not asking for permission to say, can we? Because on December 9th of 1998, the government, then Bill Clinton, signed into law, and that agreement which granted my organization the rights to do what I'm doing here. Okay, and Article 9 says, become the attorney to represent and defend the victims and their family in court, and to bring actions against the government when they violate human rights, and to monitor the United States government and its agency and overseas that they do not violate human rights and fundamental freedoms. So my job duty is so huge, it's so long, forced evictions. I mean, if I when we speak again, I'm going to, or hope we hold another presentation and my job duties. Oh yes, it's very, 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 very broad, and the rights was given. We have documents, we have everything. And some people don't like that when we're going to even their court and say, look, I'm here. They look at me as an enemy. And that's one of the reasons why this magistrate wanted to have me abducted. and God knows what it would do to me. Because the way Mr. Thomas went into a hospital, he ended up dead. How many people end up in that jail and doesn't come back out? It's many of them. Yes, so this is
And have
just
no support. And have
exactly.
no support.
So this is what happened. And we went over to the courthouse, and this is the way it happened. And when he, he forced me to flee the courthouse, and I must remind you, that's a crime under international law that we're going to do something about. And when, because you do not threaten, that's one of it, you cannot threaten a United Nations human rights official. You cannot threaten them with violence. And so when I was not there and Mr. Thomas was left vulnerable, that was what happened to him. And that was how he ended up under duress, signed this illegal order. And then he perfected a writ of possession to get him out. And just to conclude with this, I have been fighting with Mr. Thomas at all times, day and night, did everything was in my power to fight this demon, this demonic, diabolic thing that came up against him. I kept Mr. Thomas and his wife in their home for 2 years. And unfortunately,
That is so true. I said that earlier, Tawanda. And hey, shout out to Tawanda Graves, man. I love what she does out there. That's my sister. I know that's Mr. Brown's sister. A beautiful, beautiful soul who helps out our missing and exploited children of color. So follow her, like her page. I love that girl. She knows it. Always makes me laugh. She's always
yeah,
she always got something great to say.
connect with that. We need all the support. As I say, one person can't do it. We have people in our organization. We're looking for new people to join. The other day I found a motion to intervene in DeKalb County. This man had cancer, and they tried to put him out of his home. Um, it turns out illegal, like what's happened to Mr. Thomas, where he signed a mortgage with a company. The company went out of business a couple months after he did that. And he was in the home from 2008 all the way up to 14. No mortgage company, nobody. Then one day, Chase Bank shows up and say it's their property to get out. And so they, when Chase um, filed a document on the oath, affidavit on the oath says that they did not have the deed and they did not have nothing for the home. So if you don't have the deed or nothing, how you end up with the home? Then if you don't have that. And so what's happened is a next company now named Nigerian Capital comes in and say, look, we bought this home at an auction. Get out, we're foreclosing upon you. So I have to show the court that, look, there's a forensic audit done that showed that Chase never had anything to do with the home. They didn't own it or anything. And so the fact that Chase never owned the home makes it void and illegal to sell a property you don't own. So because that does not own that. And so, we're filing so many motions and intervening. There was like 98 people that we are investigating right now, these illegal foreclosure and illegal evictions, and they should be law. And I'm pretty sure there's law in place that the state under conditions where an eviction cannot take place. And if there was a condition is 25, I really believe that it's illegal to put anybody out, especially people that are of protective classes, like the Thomases. And so, and if it's like a heat wave where it's too hot, perhaps they can't do it either. So there have to be rules and law, checks and balance and things in place. They can't reckless and wantonly, willy-nilly, anything goes and make up. We say this and we say that, and whatever we say is it. So I tell you so much that we're definitely have to do something about this. The rules are the rules, and the laws are the laws, and they must be upheld. And when you go and take an oath of office, to uphold the law and to fairly and equally distribute your duties as a judge, then when you fail on that, you need to understand that there have to be serious consequences against you.
Absolutely.
It should not be about the law. So yeah, we just wanted to make sure that I state that.
Absolutely. Man, Miss Shelley, and guys, to everybody watching and that will watch this, I know I see a lot of people tuning in and out. It's Saturday and I get it. Okay. So I know this is family day, but listen, guys, share this, share this because she is dropping so many nuggets. If you're not picking up on it, and I don't know what to tell you, she's babying it at the same time helping this client and a past client who have also both passed away when it comes to this. But these aren't her only cases. This is what she's specifically talking about. I want to remind you guys that I'm now more than ever, I'm really looking forward to us having this platform together because what you bring to the table and what I'm just loving this. I sit here all day. Um, um, okay. So, Miss Shelley, if you could give the information to be able to send that cash out. And then we'll get started with Mr. Charles. If you guys are on, stay on because his story now has to do with incarceration. So go ahead, Miss Shelley, with the contact information.
Okay, one of the most important things is that the public would have my phone number and they would have also my email address where to reach me. So I will give two phone numbers, and one is 770 603 6660. 770 603 6660. The other phone number is 470 497 8202. 470 497 8202. My email address is investigator s jahan at yahoo.com, and I'm going to simplify that. Investigator INVESTIGATOR for initial of my first name, my last name, YOUHOING at yahoo.com. Investigator S. Jahan at yahoo.com. And if you want to write to me, we welcome letters and comments and, just, encouragement. You just want to just drop me a line. I mean, we're welcome. That's the way to communicate and mingle with the people. Is so the mailing address is the post office box. First, before I give that, let me give the name of the organization. So it is United Nations Office of High Council, United Nations Association of the United States of America, UNA, USA, P.O. Box 741. No, I'm sorry. P.O. Box, I have two boxes, I'm sorry. P.O. Box 524, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30237. P.O. Box 524, Jonesboro, Georgia, 30237.
Um,
Can you put that on the screen? Could you,
yeah, they're asking if we can put up your contact information. You're free on that end. You can also post a comment instead of doing private chat. You can post a comment and you can go ahead and put all your contact information. Melody also asked if there was a card that maybe we can take a picture of. If you'd like, you can send it to me and I will gladly post on my Lunchtime with Anna profile so that they're able to get your information, Miss Shelley. if they don't get it from this platform. I
Oh,
have no problem whatsoever in making sure that everybody gets the information that they need from Miss Shelley. um, thank Miss Shelley. I just want to thank you for actually exposing, right, what is your truth through your court documentations, through, I would say, as they say, allegations, right? That to you are your truth. And, I just thank you so much for giving me that time to explain that and to explain that to the audience as thoroughly as possible. And thank you for that because I think that's very important in our community. People miss those things. People miss the disabled. People miss the elderly, and that is who we are because they worked all their life. That sucks to get kicked out like that, and then you have a heart attack and you're not here. Or I'm assuming it was a heart attack due to stress.
yes, ma'am. Most definitely. So what we're doing is to contact the ambulance company, and they told me what information I need to send them. Of
Mhm.
course, because of HIPAA law, so we have to get information from the next of kin and to give to them, so they will give the information to what they wrote up to me, because that whether or not the cause of that, whether or not there was any other issue that it was going through as an elderly person, is that trigger him off that
Absolutely.
condition where he could not breathe, that they
Absolutely.
put him in that situation. And if he was able to prepare for this, that would never happen because he would never have to have that attack. So,
And
um,
and
so
actually, Miss Shelley, what you're saying is true because I have a inmate case in the state of Florida who was carried through the ambulance, and I was not getting the information that I needed. And this is just for all of your rights, just so you guys are aware. Well, the person who has power of attorney of that person or first of kin turns around and contacts the ambulance company and asks for the report from that call, that might state something a little bit different than you're hearing. Just FYI, because I was able to help a client, which we're now in the process of doing some other legal things. So that's just for your information. Um, you're absolutely right with that, Miss Shelley. When I found that out, I thought that was the best hidden jewel that
yeah,
no
there's
one
two
talked
things
about.
that they require. Two things, and this is information being shared for somebody else who may be going through this. They also require a copy of the application for the death certificate, and that's where you get it from the funeral home, because the funeral home have to fill it out, bring it to the hospital, return back to them. So even if the person just died, it can be done because they have to fill out that application. So they say if you can get the funeral home to give you a copy of that application or a POA from the next of kin, those are the two documents that we needed. So I'm hoping that they also have a camera, if they also have a video, inside there. I don't know
A lot
whether
of times they do.
they
A
have
lot
a
of times they
video
do.
that is going to show, how it was breathing and everything, and showing where they maybe something like a body cam. I'm not sure if they're required to wear it. So and also back to real quick because I know Mr. Brown have to come on, but back to the county. My office made an open record request with the police and the court, for the courthouse to turn over the magistrate court the copies of the documents that they sent to the sheriff to have the eviction took place. Way is not like way, 3 days in the Georgia law that they have to either tell you that we got your correspondence, but we need time, or they send it. So 3 days have elapsed. I haven't heard anything from them. It was also sent to the and this was done before Mr. Thomas's death. So this like about 2 weeks ago. I also sent to the sheriff department and said, I need copy of the body cams. I told them as well that I need copy to see if there was any criminal record. And I'm good at this. I always does something. I would dig down to the toenail to get information.
Mhm.
whether or not they have any type of law enforcement disciplinary complaint filed against them. We needed that. We also needed a copy of the documents that was given to them from the court that allowed them to do the eviction, and that we needed to see in particular a valid writ of possession, not something that you said that was done 2 years ago. You needed that right away.
Mhm.
And so then, just all the necessity that we needed for the investigation. But until now, we have not. So I'm going to send back again for the second time and say, it's my second request, and you are compelled under international law to respond to these information. And not only international law, but state law as well, under the Sunshine Act and the statute, annotated Georgia statute that requires them to respond
Mhm.
when you make a request. So I haven't heard nothing from neither the court. So if they know what they're doing, why wouldn't they respond? And so when I call the court, trying to speak with the judge, they wouldn't come on and leave messages. She would not. No one would call her back. And I'm calling them back again on Monday, and to let them know Mr. Thomas died. I know they knew, but I'm calling them and telling them that we're going to hold them to account. I will leave a message for them again. And so, um, you know, the courthouse said, I spoke to one person there, oh, we wouldn't have done it without a valid writ of possession. There was one. I said, when? When was it issued? Oh, back in May 2020. But we're in 2022. And every process in law have a date when they expire, I think, except for a warrant.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A search warrant have a date if you don't return it by a certain day to the court.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they're using these old expired void writs to get rid of people. And it was void in his face
Despicable.
because Mr. Thomas was treated horrible. And so here's what they told me. They told me that, look, the sheriff said that the writ doesn't expire. I said, tell the sheriff that before he quote the law, he need to research the law because that's not true. So why they not turning over the documents to us then if they had the legal right to do what they did? I just wanted to make sure I state that as well.
Absolutely. Like I said, I'm very familiar with that even happening as something as simple as an IEP through that county through the school district. Things just fall out of place. So I totally get it. Just do what you want and whatever, and it'll be okay because we got each other's back. And that's not the way it rolls, guys. That's not the way it rolls.
That is so important and so simple that caused this death is that had they just told them that they were coming and give them a little time to prepare, Mr. Thomas, I believe. It was his destiny. We all have a destiny when we come in this world. But what I'm saying, and that's why they did not warn him because this was his way to go. But what I'm saying, had they just have a little compassion, and
Absolutely.
they knew it was disabled, they knew his wife, they knew they were dealing with protected class of people because I told them. And if they just had just let them know is that fair and the stress and he never been evicted in his life and all his belongings were outside. His wife was in a wheelchair as an old woman, nowhere to go. And that stressed him out. And that was the end of my dear friend, Mr. Edward Earl Thomas, departed this life. He was a friend and a client. And he departed this life in January 4th, 2022. That was the end of Mr. Thomas. So Saturday, it will be real hard. What we're going in is a funeral home in Fayetteville called Hope. And we're going there for the service. And I just wanted
So
to
will
be.
it be virtually?
Hmm?
Will it be virtual?
I am going to see if we can help to do it virtually so people that wants to see. I talked to the family to see if they want it virtually. And his older son is in the state pen. Um there was a Caucasian lady that got killed years ago in Cuyata County. and they jailed him with absolutely no evidence connecting him to that crime. And they gave him 3 life sentences plus 180 years in prison. And they have no DNA, no evidence, nothing connected him to it. So one of my fear in helping is that one day Mr. Thomas or his wife would pass away, and he would not be able to come because he's in the prison. So yes, this is a family that is just going through so much, and of course, Mr. Thomas' worries are over, and Mrs. Thomas, now we have to look out for her because she's going to need all the help and the support.
Absolutely.
Yes, so I just wanted to.
Especially us women, and nothing against men, but if you guys can, send something from one woman to another. We got to uplift each other, especially us women of color. Show each other support. And any of you men that are willing to support her as well in his name, please do so. It takes us not so much um, to do that.
So Anna, if someone wants to donate, 1 minute, they didn't give a darn about Mr. Thomas dying. We have to get seriously in what we are fighting, and we must become furious as they, even while using the tools available, they can't handle the truth. And yes, sir, thank you for that information. I appreciate it. They did not care because when I called the sheriff department, the lady, and I had her name written down there, she said she did not care and she hung the phone up on me. So how? There's no other way. I was glad I was able to say that, man, you're a cold-blooded person. I'm glad, and I hope she heard me. I said, how could you hear that this man's died at the hands of your deputies, and you would say you didn't care? And then she just cut off the phone. But I'm glad that she heard when I said she was cold-blooded, because it's the truth. Yeah.
They gotta sleep at night.
Yeah.
And some people sleep just fine. Some people sleep just fine,
Knowing how
but sooner or later.
evil works, when people are evil, they sleep like a baby. It comes as nothing. Me and you would be affected, but
Oh
one
yeah,
thing I noticed with the
I was
law
affected when I heard.
is that they hired people and trained them, because there are people go to the training, that you cannot be too sympathetic and you need to have this type of heart of stone.
Have an
So that's
attitude,
why
yeah.
this is happening too. Yes.
Yep.
But just one last thing. If somebody wants to donate to them, would they come through you? How would we do that?
No, you can use just because this is your case. Go ahead and you can use your organizations. If you have Cash App, PayPal, whatever you have through your organization. If you don't have anything set up, we can always use mine. I am okay with that. I will make sure that it gets to the appropriate place for the cause that it's for. Each
Yes,
dollar,
I
each
would
cent.
appreciate it because I don't have it set up. There was one for my husband, but I don't even know the name of that. So if we could use yours, that would be great. I would
Okay.
appreciate
So to use the Cash App, I got to look for it now because I have two and one more business in the work. So I believe, hang on, where's my Cash App here? I'm looking at another device. Okay, so $ANAQUIN 76. If you need to get a donation, I will make sure that they get forwarded to Miss Shelli along with whatever screenshots of whatever donations have came in from this day forward for this cause. So if you guys would like to send it, I will make sure that it gets over to Miss Shelli and that she gets it over to Miss Thomas.
Yes, and please let them know that we have a non-profit, Clayton Providers Incorporated, and so they would be able to get that receipt back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And through her organization and mine as well, you do get uh, a receipt for yourself aside from what you get from Cash App. And you can write that off. Um, also, Miss Shelli, so let's get started. I do have a PayPal. Hang on. Now that one I really don't know. I barely use PayPal. Hang on. Give me, I will give you the PayPal. I'll put it on the screen before logging off, if you don't mind. And I'll give you the information for the PayPal. Because I don't believe I have it on this device, this other device that I'm on right now. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's what it would be. It would be a charity. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So Mr. Charles, I'm not sure if you would like to step in now, and talk about what happened to you in your incarceration, or if you prefer to have Miss Shelli introduce what happened to you and how it is that Miss Shelli is helping you.
Yes, ma'am. Could you guys hear me?
Yes.
We hear you perfect.
Oh, wow. Okay, thank you guys for allowing me on your platform, Miss Anna.
Anytime. You're welcome anytime. That's my buddy, you guys. Him and Tawanda, my buddies.
The phone hangs up. Can you? I can go ahead and speak. The phone hangs up. The phone hang. You say can't hear me now.
No, I can hear you.
Charles say cannot hear me
Oh,
because the telephone just hanged up here.
oh.
It was fine when the phone was on, but it now hangs up.
Okay, Charles, you can either call her or call me. Call Miss Shelli or call me. I can't hear him neither, Tawanda. I'll call him. I'll call him. There he goes. He's calling me. Mr. Charles.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So let's get started. You want to start by telling your story and then I can go on and ask the questions, or do you prefer me asking questions first? Whichever works for you works for me.
Yes, ma'am. And again, I would like to say thank you guys for allowing me on your platform, Miss Anna.
Absolutely.
And again, Miss Shelli, thank you for everything that you do. But from my platform, on my end, individual are asking questions for Miss Shelli. And I would like to ask the question to her.
Okay.
Okay, the first question is, Miss Shelli, that the people are asking, what is UNA and USA?
Mm-hmm. Okay. The UNA USA is the abbreviation. Is United Nations Association of the United States of America. So UNA is this UN is the abbreviation, like how you like first the United Nations is UNA. So there's United Nations Association of USA. So this is just the abbreviation of it. So United Nations is spelled out Association of the United States of America. So it's abbreviated as UNA/USA. Do you understand?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So that's what that is.
Yes. So with the UNA USA coming together, what do that mean?
What does it mean? Is that what your question was? No.
What do that mean?
Okay. Well, when we talks about the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights in Geneva, Switzerland, that is foreign, right? So in order to work in the United States of America, that's why the United Nations Association of the United States of America was created so that instead of it being like on a foreign level, then we work here in the United, and we are a part of the government of the United States as well. So that's what that means. So, the Geneva High Commissioner is a foreign country, but then working in the United States of America, then so we're incorporated in the USA, and so we're no longer look to somebody as a foreign organization because it's in the United States of America. You see,
Okay.
you're not
I
really
understand.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. There's another question. The people are asking. When is Mr. Thomas' funeral?
Okay, the funeral for Mr. Thomas, and thank you so much, to bring a little more, the questions that was missing. I appreciate it. The funeral is going to be finalized, but I was told that it's going to be this coming Saturday, and it's going to be Hope HOPE funeral home is in Fayetteville, Georgia. If you're familiar with Highway 85, and there's a quick trip on the right, and there's on the left where there's some doctors and inside that complex.
Okay, and you gave the location, the time.
That's what is we're trying to finalize that. So my phone number that has been listed, and if anyone wants to attend, please call me at any of the two phone numbers that we have listed, and so I can share the time with you. I have the date, but I don't have the family are still working on what time is it going to be. That information may be given to me sometimes later today.
Miss Shelley, can you give me the first phone number again that you originally called out? I have the second one on there. I need the first one.
770
Okay.
663 6573.
So it's 63.
No, 770
Uh-huh.
603
Okay.
6573. Oh, no,
657.
no, no, I'm sorry. I'm giving you my other number to that. It is similar. 770
Okay.
603 6660.
Okay. So 770-653.
No, 603.
Okay.
603 then.
770. Go ahead.
603
Okay.
6573.
Okay. There goes the second number. Hang on. And it's still trying to send. And your email, because I don't want to mess it up in any way.
My
Um,
email is investigator.
Hang on one second. Okay, and it's, hang on, let me add it. Okay, investigator.
SYOUH.
Hang on. Investigator. Okay, S like Sam.
Mm-hmm. My last name YOU
Mm-hmm.
HOING.
You said hate.
H. H is in Harry.
Oh, okay.
OING at yahoo.com. So INVESTIGATORSYOUHOING at yahoo.com.
I just put that on there. Please verify that it's correct. If not, I will delete. And we'll try again because, I'm trying my hardest to listen through the headsets and everything. And, sometimes I get a lot of feedbacks. So hang on. Is that correct?
I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing
Oh,
that.
you're not seeing it? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that's it, Miss Anna.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So, please be sure to reach out to her for whatever questions, whatever it is that you're trying to do. Because I like, make sure you guys sign the guest book also for Mr. Thomas showing the family support if you guys can. It takes a minute of your time. It doesn't take too long. So was there any other questions that you had on your end, Mr. Brown?
Yes, and this is the last question, Miss Shelli. The people are asking, where is Mr. Thomas' wife living at now, and how much the rent is for 30 days? And this the last two questions they're trying to figure out.
What did you say about the rent? I didn't get that part. What you said about the rent?
The first question is, Miss Shelli, that the people are asking where are she living at now, and how much the rent where she living at now for 30 days.
Okay. So she's in a motel. She is staying now in a motel. When they throw her out, her son got a little motel for them to stay. I was not able to go to the motel as yet because my husband had the COVID and was caring for him. So I would be able to see it. I'm pretty sure after the funeral. But I think it's on Tara Boulevard, some motel there, and so the rent estimation for her to rent a home is going to cost at least $1,200 a month.
Absolutely.
But the motels or hotels are very expensive. Like they cost sometimes even $200 a week.
Mm-hmm.
So my
I
concern,
think that's on a lower end because I think now they're like 260,
yeah,
260 to 280 a week.
my concern for her is not having the income of Mr. Thomas, and she getting like $600. She can't survive on that, and don't know. My organization doesn't receive the funding, so we don't have the money to pay for her. These are the things that we'll do, and I pay for my pocket a lot of things. But it's she's paying at least a week at least $200. I don't know how she's going to make. Well, let me not say that. Let me speak positive, that God is going to make a way, but it's a difficult task that she's facing right now with losing him and not having the money to take care of herself. So I don't know, we're looking to see what we need to do.
Amen.
Wow. That's wow. And Miss, oh man. Okay, so Miss Anna, your cash app information that Miss Shelli are using is $NANQ.
Let me correct it for whoever needs it. It's $, my first name, Anna, ANA. Hang on. I think it was, hang on. $, ANA, Quinn, like Quiñones, like my last name, QUIN, the number 76.
At gmail.com.
That's just the Cash App. I don't think there's any Gmail. There may be, I don't know.
No.
Thank you so much, Tawanda. Tawanda put it on there.
Okay. Thank you, Tawana. And those are the last questions, Miss Shelli, that the people on my end are asking.
So
And
I'm sorry, Charles. Can you just elaborate real briefly on the situation and what you would be able to bring to the table to help us to get justice for Mr. Thomas?
And that's to who?
No, I'm asking Charles.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
briefly elaborate on Mr. Thomas' situation and what him and his organization will be able to do to help us to get justice for Mr. Thomas? Real briefly.
okay. Thank you, Miss Shelli.
I don't think you heard me. Did you hear me? Could you just elaborate a little bit on Mr. Thomas' situation? I mean, making a statement, real brief, and also tell us what your organization would possibly, can do to help us to get justice for Mr. Thomas. I think you're having difficulty hearing me.
No, ma'am. Yes, Miss Shelli. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I would like to go a little bit more in depth to a sense of what Miss Shelli are asking for support and justice for Mr. Thomas. And again, my name is Charles Brown. I am the co-chairman of We the People Demand Equal Justice here in Georgia / Cordele, Georgia. And me, Miss Shelli, been working together for the last 3 years since I've been out on parole, fighting unjust, illegal conviction sentence was handed down by these corrupted judges, corrupted DAs, and incompetent public defenders, which does have a relationship of what Mr. Thomas is going through and what Ms. Shelli are sharing with the public, meaning the magistrate judges and those illegal with or possession documents that they are using to remove the elder people from their home in the code, and that rubbing the people some type of way. And we definitely gonna stand firm in that division against that shadow in Clayton County for one, and that corrupted judge. The names will be given in a later note, and also to go a little bit more depth with that, this illegal incarceration that I'm facing here in Georgia, and a lot more other individuals that facing the same thing, dealing with the corrupted judges and DAs and incompetent public defenders. So as of now, I come in on Miss Anna podcast with Miss Shelli to share and provide information to the people so they can at least stand with us. And one of the things that we are stressing here in Georgia to help Mr. Thomas and other individuals that are going through the same thing is called here in Georgia a courtroom support system. Without no courtroom support, then when the judge look over those glasses and you don't see no support, then you can do what you can with the slave. And I'm not no slave. And I'm going to stand firm in that. But when we don't have no support inside of the courtroom, you have myself, Miss Anna, other people like Miss Shelli, etc., standing in that gap for those one in these small towns that are afraid to stand against the shad, because the shad run everything according to what these Caucasians are saying. But come to find out, that's not true. And we have seen so much bloodshed, death throughout the years. I've been home within the last 3 years. Multiple elder people been removed from their home, like Miss Tina. You guys will get a chance to speak to her as well. She too lost her mother less than 60 days ago in the hands of neglect, and it getting worse and worse. So we here in Georgia are putting together through We the People Demand Justice campaign, as well as through the Shelli organization and others that standing in solidarity inside of the courtroom with each other, so that we can support and formulate some type of structure or system that we can put on the table while they trying to pass bills, some laws. So I encourage most people that I talk to, try to encourage them, if you know your county, your town, your city, here in Georgia, then I would like to talk to you. You know what I dig? I would like to speak to you guys, city commission, county commission, governors, as well as mayors in these towns, local. And I'm reaching out to you guys as of today virtual. But my team and I will be doing foot soldiering in these small towns and try to formulate this system so that we can support each other inside of the courtroom. If not, then we're going to continue to have these malfeasance handed down to the people without no care for these Caucasians, without no care, without no concern, without no care. And we see now, we hear live, going live, expressing our emotion, our feeling with the fact, and trying not to mix those two, because that don't get us nowhere when we move with emotion. But as soldiers, as understanding the rhythm that God got us here to do it, and we're going to fulfill that. And we definitely got to stand inside of the courtroom. So we definitely formulating this system here for the courtroom here in Georgia. That will stop some of the malfeasance that these Caucasians are placing amongst us in these small towns. Also, that we're trying to formulate is in the courtroom support system is a court observer. And that's how Miss Shelli came into my court case. Thank God I did find and reached out because I wasn't going to stop. But as we continue to collaborate and see the injustice, like she's doing with Mr. Thomas, with no hesitation, she jumped right on in. And that kind of like calls them, calls that county, Cordele, Georgia, Chris County, or Judicial Circuit, DAs and judges and public defenders to stop what they're doing, halt what they're doing, and think about what they're doing before they move forward. And here I am again with a court date coming up Monday. So each time my court date come up, I definitely be present most times. But my last interview with the judge, when I did go to court, which it did get continued, we placed in a Rule 22. A Rule 22 will also cause a stop of what they're doing as well, because you allow the Rule 22 be granted by Superior Court judges, which they can't deny unless special happens. But until then, they can't deny, and you will be allowed to have cameras on the inside. And that, too, causes judges and DAs to think about what they're doing before they move forward in hanging and processing innocent people illegally. So the Rule 22 definitely does help to support system that we're doing here in the courtrooms here in Georgia. So I did file one. It did get granted. The court date is on the 31st, Monday at 9 o'clock p.m. or a.m. And the Rule 22 has been granted, and that court circuit now realize that they got a hand full and something has to be done. And what I mean by that is, along to go with the courtroom support system, is that how the district attorneys and judges is processing the grand jury process. We have multiple numerous cases, but the one I'm really interested in is the one in February the 7th. There will be a calendar with court dates here throughout the state of Georgia that you guys would like to attend if you want to. I will be placing within the next 14 days. Every court date that's scattered out throughout the state of Georgia is 157 counties. Out of 157 counties, I done went through 100 of them. And there will be a calendar call for court dates in these small towns, especially Cordele. And we are encouraging you guys to attend. If you ain't got the gas, we'll do a cash up and put the gas in your car so you guys can attend and see the malfeasance and see what they're doing. And then we'll come up with a resolution together as a team with the city commission, the county commission, and local guys to sit down in your county so that the union can do and show here in Georgia what can be doing. Because the documents that Ms. Shelli are sharing with you guys will get a chance to see and to observe and be a part of if you would like to. In the training application that we will be putting out, what Ms. Shelli was speaking on in a sense, we will be pushing that out to the people, but we are definitely looking for individuals that's serious, that have passion, and definitely want to make a change in your town, your city, your community, and things in that format. So we will be reaching out to you guys. But on the 31st, my court date is scheduled. Ms. Shelli is a part of that court date, and she is a part of that observing. And she will be sitting in, and we are asking for other people to sit in, to join us, to sit in, to watch, and formulate application, mandamus, compel, whatever need to be done to let the local guys, DAs and judges know if you're not going to be able, if you're not going to do what you say, you're going to uphold your oath of office, then you will be removed. Accountability is what we support. city commission local guys that we have already placed in these seats out of Cordele, Georgia, especially, you will be held accountable. As well as Atlanta, you will be held accountable.
Absolutely.
Throughout the whole state of Georgia, you will be held accountable. And there's a solution. And Miss Anna, I do want to add on the next gathering, if we can, on the 12th. That is on Saturday, and I know that family time, and I know this is something you don't do.
No. I have no problem with helping. Whatever you need, you guys know that. You have my full support.
Right.
You guys are good. It's just, you guys know though, a lot with the Latino as well as the Black culture. We love spending that one day with our family, so it's no big deal. They'll be okay. They get all the rest of the year with me, so they'll be fine. But Mr. Brown, I wanted to ask you because Miss Melody Jones and Melody has had some incredible. There's been a lot of people who've had some awesome comments on here, and some that I like to go back to, and it wasn't like a good time to pause and go and read it. But I'll go back to them before the presentation or before the interview's over. They need to know. She's asking, will you be providing the actual court dates for affected cases as well?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
And not only court criminal cases, as well as foreclosures, elders being kicked out their home, as well as mothers that have been victimized by these tyrants, cops, killing innocent black men and women without a weapon. Right, and I will be sharing those court dates as well as those issues in the next 14 days. Yes, I will.
And then I have another question for you. You mentioned something about okay, we have the 4th. You said when is it in February? You said the 12th. There was another date that you gave in February.
Yes. The court date in February, the 10th, is Commissioner Russ Reed. He's a young black man that is being prosecuted by the same DAs and judges that prosecuted me illegally right now. And Governor Kemp just removed him within the last 4 days from his seat of office in Cordele, Georgia, which he was sworn in January the 6th. But Governor Kemp launched an investigation due to the fact the commissioner came to a crime scene where his best friend was just killed on a motorcycle. And he came to the scene, and the state trooper took it upon himself to approach everyone, especially that commissioner, which I think he was targeted with the political gang banging that they're doing here in Georgia. And he was targeted. And when he was targeted, he was placed in jail and arrested for oath of office, abuse, a placing hand on a state trooper, which wasn't true, and went to court within 30 days ago. And God knows, within 14 days, I share a little bit more of his case as well. But he go to court February 10th for prosecution. Also, I have another case out of Hawkinsville, Georgia, Turner County. That is a grand jury issue. We investigated that case within the last 21 days and kind of found out that grand jury was not paneled adequately and constitutional. Come to find out that grand jury panel consists of only 12 people. That is illegal in Georgia. So that case is going to trial. It's set for trial February the 7th, but there's a conflict. I just found this out yesterday. So I'll be sharing a little bit more information on that. But also, those court dates that I will be displaying, again, the foreclosures, we are so serious about those and those criminal cases. Please attend, please, because I will be there. If I can't be there all of them, somebody will be there. God knows someone will be there.
Now, all these cases, because of the pandemic, I must ask, because it all varies on what state you're in, what county you're in. Are they still doing the virtual that you can look via YouTube, or do you not know? You physically have to go into the court dates now?
Well, Georgia open for business. Okay, let's get that straight. Georgia open for business now. Mandate with masks, that's something different. But we have within the last 20 days, we ran across a situation where he enjoyed the P9 system. If you have a paid attorney, that's what we went through. And if your loved one is in prison and the vaccine shot, they have to take, and the booster shot before they go inside of the courtroom to see a private attorney. And I'm talking about one specific attorney at that. But no, Georgia's not closed down for business, and they are allowing individuals inside of the courtroom being transferred back and forth. So, yes, it's open for business. So if they're doing virtual, yes, they are doing virtual to certain cases. Certain cases they're doing virtual. And they are using the pandemic to keep some of the inmates confined without going inside of the courtroom. So what don't happen now is there's a memo that was placed out Thursday. My attorney sent it to me from Court of Judiciary Circuit. And what that judge had done is, if your case is like in my case, I have had 25 continuous within the last 3 years with a paid attorney. So the judge had made his mind up to keep his calendar open and keep him from having a JQC complaint. He had taken all paid attorney cases that been continued that many times and pushed them off the calendar. What do that mean? That means when your lawyer get his mind made and you get your mind made up, the DA, we ready. And then we'll be ready for you guys. Until then, I'm going to take your case off the calendar. Yes, I'm upset. As of right now, I'm definitely upset. But that's what they are doing to keep the judges out of trouble. Because every quarter they have to, report this and that and, their status. So that's the situation with that.
So the question to you guys is, I can answer that from my organization because I'm united with a few other organizations that I know Mr. Charles is also connected with in the state of Georgia. But to answer your question, at times, if needed, we do have Zoom meetings. What we're planning on doing is using this very platform to have something educational for the community to let them know and expose out there what is going on via this platform. Of course, if you'd like to hold a private Zoom call, let us know, and we have no problem with doing that. And what he actually wrote was, do your causes have Zoom links, and can one attend as a court watch? Oh, okay, so they're talking about court. And I think it depends on the county, because just a few months ago, I was looking at the Matthew Baker case, which I also interviewed the mom a few months ago. I was looking at that via Zoom, via YouTube. That's why I was asking. But if you're saying that now they're open, they might not be doing that anymore. So we'll verify and let you guys know.
Clayton County still does over Zoom, so it depends on the county. Because Clayton does.
Okay, and Cordell wouldn't do that. So we can't show you support via internet. Is that correct, Mr. Charles?
Yes, ma'am. And I don't want to go into too much depth to expose my hands live, but I do want to say this. My contact information is social media, Charles A. Brown on Facebook, as well as Instagram. But what I am trying to point out to you guys about the courtroom support system, the platform that we have to be, this will stop what we're doing, what we're talking and discussing now, to a point of holding accountability, so we can see and hear what you're doing. So yes, there will be an avenue, and the way Court is set up, and the way the Rule 22 works, and Ms. Anna, you will get the link as well. So so the Rule 22 is we can take the Rule 22 on the inside of the courtroom, link it through you guys via Facebook like we're doing now to a certain degree, but we want to do a stream. Not only here locally, we want to take it to the DOJ. We want to also put it on website that they gonna see.
Absolutely.
You see, so when you expose your hands to that certain degree, a lot of things change.
Yeah.
A lot of things change. So yes, you will get a chance to see that. Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So, and I know he's limited, guys. Remember, he's got court Monday. So you also gotta, he's limited on things, but that's why Miss Shelly's here. And we do have Miss Tina on the phone, if she's still on the phone. I did not forget that she's on the phone. And so Tawanda has a question for you. She says, ask him to explain how people can still support open court cases if they aren't residents of Georgia. So I think you pretty much answered that, but you can answer again.
Yes, ma'am. Through the Rule 22 system, we will be using that to share inside of courtrooms here throughout the state of Georgia. Now, there's a state movement that we're putting together too. So not only can Georgia be connected, also to be other states as well. But that Rule 22 link that I will be sharing within the next 21 days, not 14, 14 days to give you the court calendar, and the 21 day will give you the link on the inside of those court calendars. So that way we'll be outside tailgate with a 100-inch screen TV in the parking lot of the courtroom here in Georgia, something they never seen before. You know, so that's the good part about it. So we won't have to ask you for your transcripts no more. We don't have to ask you for audio and video to send to the Court of Appeals no more. We got our own. So that's the reason why we really trying to push that.
And see, you know, what Mr. Charles is saying, all the organizations that I work with, that's what we do. We actually try to find a way to get into those courtrooms, and we're going about it a different way for our people, to defend our people, and it never hurts to learn the law. You guys have no idea how many law books I'm reading. Talk to somebody who knows the law, educate yourself. I'm sure that they're willing to give it to you. I give it to people all the time for free. Mr. Charles and I had a conversation one time, man. We were just hyping each other up with how excited we were at how we're going to help the community, because that's all I live for. That's all he lives for, aside from whatever he's going through. Miss Shelli, you heard her long, long, long list of things she does for everybody. Here goes another question. Yes, they or no statement. Yes, they are, and even if they're incarcerated ones are being done, VVC and the actual courtrooms are open. Yes, keep stressing that, Charles. It's business as usual. And here goes another one from Mr. Oshosi. Am I pronouncing that right with my accent? I'm Latina, so bear with me. I am with LUI, AUI, opt-in, and I am with Miss Belinda Parker Brown. If you will, please send all information to LUI to include the court dates and times when it is critical one can attend as a court watch, given to the approval of Miss Belinda Parker Brown.
Thank you.
And this is what we're doing this on a Saturday morning for, or Saturday afternoon now. This is why we're sitting here. This is what it's about, for all of us, because there's been cases that at one point, do you need it up? At one point, I was all alone and had nobody, and then just started connecting, and we've all started connecting, and we're already united.
So I wonder what their contact information, how we contact.
How can we contact you?
No, it's the LUIAUI and opt-in. What do we Google it to find them?
Miss Shelli, I would send you their information over, and Miss Brown, I would send you this panel information over as well, like always.
Awesome. So now, Mr. Brown, your story just had me with my jaw to the ground, because I'm like, how does this happen? However, this is how it's set up, right? The system. Can you go ahead and tell your story?
Well, yes, ma'am.
Well, what you're able to tell, because I don't know what you're able to and not able to.
Yes, ma'am. The short, brief, and simple, to the point where I was on Mother's Day, 5/11/2014. I was pulled over for making a legal U-turn on top of the hill, which there's no law in Georgia, by a erratic state trooper. And that led me in jail, fighting this case going on 8 years. But throughout this whole process, after being convicted illegal on a guilty plea, my family and I discovered that the substance that they find, the contraband that they find in the car, Georgia have not made a law for it yet. So the question that my family and campaign are asking is, within what place you in prison? So, and that's where the position we in now. So when I come home on parole, it kind of changed the game in Georgia. And what I mean by that is, if you fight a post conviction like I am on a habeas, then it become a civil matter, and then they take the control out of the Georgia, the Department of Corrections, meaning the AG of Georgia. So now when you come home on a post conviction and you're doing a habeas, the DA keeps the case. He don't get no help from the AG or your state or Georgia. So he has to fight that case by himself. And as of right now, he having a very difficult time. And that's what changed the game in Georgia. When you come home on parole or probation and you decided to give your case back, you meet the criteria within 4 years of your confinement. If fraud ain't involved, then you can file back in time to get a case back to the district attorney and let him know, I don't want it. I never should have received it. The incompetent counsel that you gave me should have known better and checked the indictment. And that's what the problem is, the indictment. And these lawyers pay attorneys the way a public defender. They don't even look at the indictment. They just look at what you're charged with, and they carry on from that point. But you have to start back from the beginning, the warrants, the arrest, etc. And they don't do that. But now here in Georgia, changing the game on the post conviction, and they give the DA with his uneducated and incompetent behind it as well, of understanding that these guys, black people, are realizing that, hey, I'm gonna get the case back to you, and you have to find a way to make sure that conviction is constitutional and legal, and that's not the case here. And I'm going back on an open record violation, one of the longest ones here in Georgia, going on 3 years. But open record doesn't, in Georgia, the law say 3 days. You got to respond back. I'm going on 3 years. And the district attorney, Brad Rigsby, out of Cordele, Georgia, the head district attorney, has refused, neglected, to turn over any document that he gave to the grand jury 2 times. I've been indicted 2 times with the same substance, which that too is illegal. And now this district attorney taking it upon himself, saying, I'm giving you anything what you're asking for is work product. And I'm like, I'm asking for the crime lab. And he was like, no, it's work product. I'm like, what is work product? Well, it's a product that I'm working on. Who you working on? You. I've been convicted. I'm through working on me. So I'm entitled to the record. He's like, no, we're going to have a hearing. I said, well, what a hearing about then? We're going to have a hearing and see could you have these documents. And that's what we're going to court for, that violation alone. Not what he did to me and my family, but just the open record violation like Mayor Reed. And what Ms. Shelli was speaking on about the open record situation is, when you ask for it, you got to give some type of response, if not all of it. If not, then you in violation. In Georgia, there is going to be a lot of violations that we already have seen. But how can you change that? Simple, man. Show up at these courtrooms, pull up, come inside these courtrooms and sit down. And see, and then you figure out what to do from that point. Remove handcuffs, GBI, citizen arrest. A lot of that can be happening inside of the courtroom, because most of these cases, just like Mr. Thomas, I am so upset about this. I am so upset to the point where, not the first time when they kicked the man out the house, actually supposed to be done did. But here it is, this man lost his life, never went through none of this now. Not built like that. Not to the point where you see your wife disabled and you can't defend for your wife, man. When you can't defend for your loved one, to make you feel some type of way, man. It makes you feel some type of way deep down on the inside. Makes you just want to get in the car and just drive all the way straight through the door, man. But the man is no longer here. And since I've been home for the last 3 years, I have seen so many murders behind them prison walls. Because that's the way you have to live. You live or die. But out here in this society, I shouldn't have to see this with an older person. In prison, when you do something to an older person in prison, man, I don't give a care if you're a war. Action on the real. Action be done right then. Stand off all of that. Like now, pressure need to be applied on the sheriff. Pressure need to be applied against that judge that signed that illegal with a possession to remove that young man out his crib, man. And so we're going to stand firm with Mr. Thomas' family, and we're going to stand firm. We're going to fight this thing aggressive. We're going to fight it aggressive, man. We're going to fight it aggressive.
Okay. So, and that we are going to do. We are, because disabled and elder, that's despicable. Like, that's just, you're just a bad person. You're just a bad person. Going back to your case and what you can answer, if you cannot answer, say, Anna, let me know, Anna, that I cannot answer that question right now. Is it possible for you to tell the listening audience what was the substance that was supposedly found on the vehicle?
Miss Emma, that was a good question. And the substance that was found inside of the car is called Alpha. P like in Paul, Victor like in V like in Victor, P and Paul, PVP, Alpha PVP. And that is a designer or substance, and they have not made a law for it yet in Georgia. Until then, it's not legal. It's not illegal. I mean, it's not illegal. So we can ride around with it all we want, whatever it is. I never seen it, never touched it. But that's the substance that they have now on the books here in Georgia. And so that is the issue with the district attorney here, because that fraud that you committed, you never correct it. You can't correct it, because I lost my mother, my father, my grandmother, my grandfather. I lost my older sister. Now I'm losing my little brother, and I'm the oldest child out of my whole family. So I'm losing him now.
Hang on. I think we lost him. 1 second here. No. Sorry, you guys. Hang on, Mr. Brown.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just messaging you. The last thing that I got out of here, and anybody can correct me if we're wrong, if I'm wrong. The last thing that I heard was your little brother. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Can you start from there?
Yes, ma'am. And again, like I say, he's dying now from the same disease that Brother Mac died from. So these Caucasians in my town has caused a lot of pain and suffering for a substance that is not illegal in Georgia, period. And this is the reason why I've been fighting the case for the last 8 years. And the DA that's in court here now, Brad Rigsby, he's the head district attorney. He knows what he done. He knows what he did, and he refuses to allow the people, you guys, to review the record and see the malfeasance and the injustice that he handed down through that whole town. Not just me. There's multiple other individuals that you guys will begin to see in the month of February. I will be exposing the extra wrongdoing that they have been doing. And there will be a petition for you guys to sign to be a part of here dealing with court and judicial circuit, period, to remove those cricket judges, the district attorney from Diamond. And I will be sharing that in the month of February.
Mr. Brown, so a question from Ms. Jones. What is it called out as a street drug? And if it's not even a classified, how can you be arrested as well as convicted of it accordingly?
Well, in this case here, incompetent attorneys. I don't had 19 lawyers within the last 8 years fighting this charge here. And to give you an answer to the question is no one checked the indictment. And once the indictment was checked, I was re-indicted. And when they checked that indictment, they realized like we don't mess that indictment up. So now we got to let them out. But now that substance is not illegal in Georgia. So that's how they placed me in prison based upon retaliation. And that came from Southern Center for Human Rights. And what you guys can do is Google Cordell, Georgia, lawsuit 2014. You guys will begin to see where all this stems from, which is Southern Center for Human Rights here in Atlanta, which I do have a situation with them as well, dealing with this lawsuit because, and I will say this, they used me, they abused me, and they threw me to the curb, to the wolves while I was in prison, as well as in jail, helping them with the lawsuit that you guys finna see, Cordell, Georgia, lawsuit 2014, in Southern Center for Human Rights. I don't want to help with that lawsuit from the jail, collecting all the information to give it to the investigators that came out to the jail to investigate the malfeasance out of Cordell, Georgia. Now, that lawsuit was one of the worstest, and it led me in prison illegally. When they realized that I was hitting with the lawsuit and I was tortured, I was battered, beat up, fed what that stuff called loaf, LOAF, where you mix all the food up together and they serve it to the inmate for your disciplinary issues when you don't comply with them. So through that whole lawsuit, within the last 2 years, that lawsuit from 14 to 15, I was battered and bruised, beat up, tortured, because see my family documents wasn't given out to the jail, to the mail room, and I went through so much. So I'm lucky to be here. So that is my story with my court case as of right now.
That's a lot. That's a lot. And I commend you for even being able to stand up halfway civil, right? Through all of this, because Mr. Brown is an amazing soul. If you just get to speak with him, he's just got such a spirit full of life. And I enjoy every conversation with him. Now, quick question to you, Mr. Brown. Now, your attack was not from any other inmates at all. Your attacks were from actually guards. Is that what you're stating?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And it comes from the administration of the jail. The jail, the whole county was being sued. The DA, judges, public defenders, the city commission, the county commission, etc. And when they realized that I was giving the information out to the investigator when they come to the jail, and most of the people that, like younger guys from 2013, 2011, and 2012, most of that younger crew during that era, they can read, but they don't understand the lingo. So they bring the case to me, and I give it to the investigator. The investigator give it to chief counsels, and they'll fight the cases in court. But as you guys continue to read that court case, you'll see how nasty it was, and a lot of white privileges things like that came out, and it led into a consent decree. Consent decree to me is a pacifier, and I didn't know no better. I didn't know how to do none of this stuff. But when we got into that nasty lawsuit, it came to the fact that the county sheriff, administration, DR hearings, and all this stuff here, they attacked me. And I did as much as I could to defend myself from that with a pen, maybe some peanut butter jars with water in it. I put in a sock, try to defend myself from the administration. Not the first time I got into it with them because of that lawsuit. So I reached out to them when I came home, and during this whole course of getting battered and bruised by that jail, I reached out to Southern Center for Human Rights. I asked them for help, and they responded back, "You're on your own." And from that point, I just went to fight. And when I came home, I was full of rage.
I've told you already that my interview, I don't know if you caught it last week. Big ups to Abdul Shakur, because I'm sure he'll watch this at one point or another. I need to connect you two because this guy was in solitary confinement for 32 years. 32 years. Okay?
Wow.
And his story will be airing part 2 this coming Wednesday. Is just like jaw dropping because I don't know that I would have been able to survive. And how he talks about his survival and how he's used his time to learn the law and do these lawsuits to use it to his advantage has been, he's incredible, just incredible. And like I say, I don't care. And I'm sure Miss Shelley and Mr. Brown, you guys can agree with me. I don't care what a person who's incarcerated did, right? That's that's not our problem there. They're doing their time, right? So our problem is when you're mistreating our client. That's what makes it where we have to step in and make it right for our client. And this is what we're talking about. So yes, we do take cases that you're guilty. We don't care about that. We know it. We're not saying that our client is innocent. What we're saying is your rights are being violated. And that's what we care about. That's what we're caring about. Where are they violating your rights? Um, Here goes a comment from Tawanda Graves. And the 2022 Johnny Savory Innocence Tour highlights cases state to state just like these. So just so you guys are aware. Political prisoners they are. And that's so true. That's exactly what it is. Political prisoners, especially the one that I just did, and in your case too, Mr. Brown, because you'll hear some people just holler out, oh, this or that. But when you really read and look at the case, you're like, well, no, this is not what you're talking. This is not what you're hollering out. I'm sure all of you guys have dealt with this where you guys get a case and they withhold a page or two, and you're like, no withholding. We need all the information because then I can't help you. I need the whole truth. I don't care how ugly, how bad your crime was. We don't care about that. We just want to help you, I'm sure you guys have dealt with that too, because I have all the time. I'm like, where's these 3 pages? They're probably the most important pages. We need these pages. Even if you did it, that's not what we care about. So I have some questions for you, and the thing is, I have them on the tablet, and because I'm on my line, I'm not able to ask them. We texted them to each other. Is it possible for you to just go down the list and kind of ask and tell the question, because I'm not able to move anything, and I apologize about that, not giving you more work, Mr. Charles. But I just want to make sure that they get your whole entire story. They know that we're going to be working all of this together. We're going to be helping. All of these names matter. All of these names matter. And they're going to continue to matter. Starting with Mr. Thomas and Mr. Brown. That I see both cases in front of me. Their names matter. Their case matters. So go ahead, Mr. Brown. You can go ahead with the questions that I have for you. And again, I apologize about that, but because I made the call, I can't scroll now. It won't let me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And the question that you wanted to ask has been answered. And the first question was, is Brad Rigsby in violation of the Open Records Act? Yes, he's in violation, and he's going on 3 years plus of a violation. And if you have a question to that, what would happen if you violate that long? Well, a couple things have, especially when you're dealing with a criminal case and you concealing the record. You're not holding them, you concealing them from the people. And here in Georgia, once the conviction is complete, 120 days, those transcripts and things, documents and records supposed to go into the record. for the public if they want them. And that's not being happening, so they're being concealed. And the other question that you wanted to ask is there a law for alpha PVP in Georgia? Not yet. And the last question was, what was the reason for the lawsuit in 2014 with Southern Center for Human Rights, which I went and dealt with that question, meaning the malfeasance from the judge, the DAs, and public defenders. And also with that little bit, they were trying to provide lawyers for Courtney so the Sixth Amendment won't be violated. Well, here I am. Violated. So that was the reason for the 2014 lawsuit. So those were the three questions, Ms. Allen.
So, and quick question, according to the indictment, according to whatever, right? What is supposed to be the substance? I'm not familiar with the substance, and excuse my ignorance, as I'm sure some of the audience is not as well. What exactly did they claim this substance was supposed to be? And it turns out it's that substance, which I'm sure the court paper makes it look like it's that other substance. Can you tell us what the substances are so that, and again, excuse my ignorance, I just like to know, so that we're thoroughly given the story.
Well, to narrow it down is the substance is called alpha PVP. Inside of that substance, according to the crime lab, it's like 9 different illegal substances mixed into one. And here in Georgia, what they're trying to do with that batch of substance is place it into a schedule, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you place it in one of these schedules in Georgia, then you have violated the law. But that's where the problem is, because that substance can be a 1, a 2, or a 3. But we won't know that until the hearing starts. But I do have the crime lab report where it say a schedule 1. But according to the federal guidelines, it can be a 5. It can be a 2 or 1. So Georgia kind of confused. Georgia kind of like, I don't know what it is. He don't know what it is. The lawyer don't know what it is. Miss Shelli don't know what it is. Charles Brown don't know what it is. And we don't know what it is then.
We just made him go to prison and pretty much go through hell.
Right. And that's why I came out aggressive, very aggressive. I'm going to continue to be aggressive. I'm not going to stop being aggressive. And we're going to find out what schedule this is on the 31st of January. And that's the reason why we're going to find out what is it and what did you get to the grand jury, which we found out that you did not give the grand jury anything. Now, also, I'm going to just leave it at that. You did not give the grand jury anything. To put an innocent man in prison, and you know it, you have to be removed. You have to be held accountable, especially when you know it. Intent.
Absolutely. Is Miss Tina still on the phone?
Yes, ma'am. I will be pulling her in right now, Miss Anna.
So, Miss Tina, I wanted to thank you for being here. And I want.
1 minute, Miss Anna. Please hold 1 minute, Miss Anna. I'm going to pull her in right now.
Okay. I thought she was still on. I'm sorry.
No, yes, ma'am. She is now, Miss Anna. Thank you, Miss Anna.
Okay. Hi, Miss Tina. It's a pleasure to speak with you again. I wanted to ask you, first of all, I wanted to thank you for coming back on to the platform and speaking with us. But I wanted to ask, what is your connection to Mr. Charles Brown? And how are you connected to all of this story?
Well, I've been an activist a long time, and I've supported a lot of people. I got a little promotion. I got a lot of creativity. People come to me for advice. I see beyond the future, and I like to put it like that. I call myself a creativity consultant. But I'm always trying to come up with a solution for people. I do a lot of research and stuff like that. So I met him through a Reverend Lionel Gantt, and they were talking, and he said, Miss Tina, I need you to help him. So I didn't know Charles. I just jumped on the phone and started helping. I said, why you put that last minute pressure on me like that? I haven't been playing around with that stuff out there with the people. So I went to talking to Mr. Charles, and I was just amazed. It was exciting to see the little young blood moving around like I used to move, huh?
No, I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing with yes, because that is you're describing him to a T. You really are. I mean that.
Yeah, I love it. I love that spirit that gets me going and energy and I said that's everything that I was. I would slow down a little bit, and so I was going through with my mama death and all this and that and sickness, and so he has been a great help. Him and I can say multiple ways. I needed some help moving. What you need, Miss T? What you need? And he jumped on that, and he had them people coming in there like locomotives, coming in there moving like ships. Young folk, the big folk, the old folk, everybody coming. And when they came, they was moving. Yep. And so he's been a lot of things to me. His wife and him came to help us out with some health issues and, trying to find out what's going on with these cards that we have or insurance cards. They was just a help where I got stuck in a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And what else? Community stuff, community projects. He knows something about it, or I might know something about it, and I jump up on him. See what you can find about this, Machine. I said, okay, let me see what I can find out, and stuff like that. We gave each other ideas. We came up with a lot of lawsuits because they out there like a million of them. I mean, I be recognizing them. I recognize claims action lawsuits, all kind of lawsuits. All I gotta do is hear the story. Are you laughing at me, Mrs.?
I love it. No, I'm not laughing in a disrespectful way at all. I'm laughing at the fact that I love it. That I love it. I love it. I love it. Keep it up. So you and him connected from the jump. And when you say that, I absolutely agree with you because from the minute me and him just talked, he's like, "Hey, Anna, I need a favor. Do you think you can get me in on this day?" I was like, "Of course, just let me know. Give me the date. Give me the time. We'll be there. We'll do it. No problem." And after speaking to him, man, he hyped me up. I was like, okay, I'm not doing enough activism, and I do a lot. I'm not doing enough. I need to do more. So I totally feel you on that. Now, so you helped them out. And as you started helping them out, you realize, okay, this is what you do. And how did that all evolve? Like, was it a lot of problems? Because anybody who knows Cordell, Georgia, you don't even want to get pulled over in Cordell, okay? I'm serious when I say that. I'm serious. I always drive from Georgia to Florida, so y'all know I pass Cordell.
Oh, yeah. Real carefully, cautiously, I'm sure.
Yes. And guys, anybody who knows me knows I drive fast cars. I have a need for speed, but no way, not over around there. So you guys start working together, start filing your, his suits, his forms. And how is that? Are you having a hard time with, people responding? How is that going on your end?
On my end, I've been moving real slow on that end. I've been listening to him. We come up with some ideas, and I can take ideas and throw it at him, and he'll run with it and shape and mold it on some things. So that's just what he does, and that's just what I do. See, Cordelia, he's been real busy, and he already got most of that stuff done. But he's still striving to see if he's missing something. This is what I pick up. So even down to the last moment, he's been trying to figure out what's going on and go over it. He want to perfect it. So you got that magic energy and the level of perfection. You know what I'm saying? may have limited education, but he's self-educated. And what he's educated in, he speaks highly of, and you can't tell that he's not an authority over it. You can't tell he don't have no degree when he starts quoting his educational training that he self-taught himself. You see what I'm saying? That's another fascinating thing.
Exactly. And Miss Tina, I'm glad you say that, because that's what it's all about. That right there that's the scariest person to me. The ones that have learned it on their own and know what they're talking about because they found a way to get that education on it. Education, regardless in what it is key. And if I'm talking about anything from riding a bike to a certain degree, whatever, education is key. Educate yourselves. Read a book. Look, nowadays you can look at YouTube. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but if you lazy and don't like to read, look at YouTube, read an audible that you're just listening to the book. There's no reason why you shouldn't be educating yourself with self-knowledge. And there's so many programs out there that you can self-educate yourself with self-knowledge. Miss Tina, oh my gosh, I love her spirit too. Miss Tina, I'm looking forward to meeting you myself. Is there anything else that you would like to add? Your information for your organization, so forth, so on?
Well, but to be honest with you, I've been the person that a lot of people come to for advice. And I mean, I've given people $1 million ideas, and I don't know what they did with it, but maybe I need to meet somebody that got some money that can compensate me as a consultant, because I just been giving away all my $1 million ideas, and I see stuff. All I do is be around you, and I observe, and I say, what are you doing with that space over there? What can you do? What's possible? What's the leverage, and how many hours do you have when you have to close that area down? And then I say, what do you love to do? And they say, I like raising funds. So I'm putting my creativity together. I do not have an organization yet set back up. My mama passed and haven't been too long, got buried. Not buried, cremated. And so I come out after she passed. I said, okay, I have to try to get my sanity back. Because another thing Charles has done is that I have been the one that a lot of people come to for advice. Let me run this by you, Tina. What you come up with? And I usually say, give me 7 days, and I'll get back with you. I got your package for you. Now, I've become codependent on him. Like, I got real codependent on him, like I was addicted to him. I'm like, Charles, I'm stuck. I come up with the $1 million idea that people can't see. It's right in front of me. They can't see. And half time they give it to me. I said, you know what you just said? Oh, you don't know what you just said. Now I'm gonna tell you about you. I'm sorry about that, Miss Thomas. No disrespect. Now you got money coming all kind of ways, and I'm gonna tell you why. When you said them 3 things, you got Hispanic, Latino, you got African American. I said that's 3 ways she can market herself. If she write a book, she will have a book for Latino, a book. They're very close with similar dialects, but slightly different, and she can relate to all that stuff. Then her book go right there. She'll have made money. I mean, multiple money.
And that's funny that you say that, because we're in the process of actually doing all of that now. That's just confirmation. I just wrote a book who is actually being filmed. We're doing auditions who we're going to be filming, and it's going to go to different platforms, different countries, different languages, dialects, and Latino actors as well as other actors. The original is going to come out with full Black cast, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited that you said that, because that's confirmation.
I was writing down y'all meeting.
Yeah.
I wrote that down. I said, that lady got that bubbly stuff going on, times 3 types of ways she can market anything that she want to put together. That's money.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because just and to give you guys something positive, right? I have been helping, and I know this isn't about me, so it's just going to be real brief. I have been helping everybody like you guys do. Like what I say pro bono, right? Every time somebody needs something, oh, no problem, I'll help you. Sometimes if you're lucky, you'll get a thank you. You probably won't hear from them again, right? So after doing all of this over 3 years, guys, finally yesterday was the first time I got contracted and I actually get a salary for what I do. The first time. And I'm like, God is so good, because I would think to myself, well, at least say thank you. At least, we talked about this yesterday too, Miss Shelly. So last night I had a Zoom call, and I'm just ecstatic. It's just confirmation. You have no idea what you just said to me and how much confirmation it is from what has transpired within the last 24 hours in my life. So it's just confirmation to me.
Amen.
Yeah. Now, go ahead.
I like your spirit. I like the way you're calm and relaxed. And if somebody was hurt, you make them feel at ease. All of that is beautiful for your talk show. And I'm sure you already know that. But see, what I'm talking and feeling, they call you for advice. I see you can market some things in more than one way. About 4 ways, actually. See, I might be moving like an inchworm on other things, but things like this, I just go pop, pop, pop in my head. And so this is what I'm saying. We talked about the Latino. We talked about now, what if you were to call yourself interviewing up-and-coming, inspiring actors? I'm going to give you one of my ideas.
So
do you hear what I'm saying?
I actually do that, and we actually have just started doing that. I'm working with some production companies to do that. So you guys, yes, I do also work within the industry. And excuse my beautiful dog back there, Samson. He wants attention. But we do a lot for the entertainment industry. A lot of these stories, if they can be documented, please, if you guys have that story written down, let's script it. Let's make it put out there, and put out there to where people can see and be like, wait a minute, this is an injustice, because that's how we're going to do it for the community. I don't only do what I do for my personal passions, right? I do what I do with a whole intent of helping other people in the long run. And in the long run, that's the way we're going to do it. You keep exposing it out there. Look at how many people, and I hate to give this example, but it's the truth. Nobody would listen to what was going on with R. Kelly. Nobody. Once they put out that documentary, guess what happened? Things changed for R. Kelly real quick, really, really quick, really quick. As you guys know, the ending effect, what's going on now. So like I said, and I don't want to go all into detail with that. And thank you so much, Miss Jones. Thank you so much to Wanda. It means a lot. It really does. I work hard for the world. You guys have no idea how many things I do that I don't like to give myself clout. I just don't. I just love to do for others. I live for that. That's my passion. Miss Tina, I'd like to get in contact with you off air. I really would, because this became about me. This wasn't supposed to be about me. I'm the most selfless person you'll ever meet. But is there anything else that you'd love to add or speak about with Mr. Charles, or any other pending cases or anything that you have going on?
Well, I have something that since my mama passed, Mr. Charles have been up there at the hospital with me a couple of times. And my mom has been nothing but abused up at that hospital. I could not handle leaving her up there, and they got mad. Oh, they got mad. They kept trying to get her. They gave me in charge. Hell, trying to get her in the nursing home, went in the nursing home, and he put it well when he broke down. And he said, No, ma'am. That's a certain home that almost killed my auntie. Are you kidding me? And I'm gonna let you take her back up there. I mean, and then I kept looking at that place as we were leaving. It looked like that first floor looked like a funeral home. So gloomy. It's just like I seen negative spirits roaming around. I said, what is this? Oh, I did not see that before. Okay, and so every time I go to the hospital, my mom had marks on her. And I know my mom didn't have those marks on her because I rubbed her body from head to toe every day. Good rub down, sometimes two. Okay. They look like they gouged. They look like they clipped my mama ear. They had marks on my mama. They scraped my mama face. And my mama ain't had these marks. What happened to these marks? They are not telling me nothing. I said, you all have been very vague and I mean minimum answers to a major thing. And then I kept telling them, I said, oh, I need to have a meeting. So I had a couple of meetings, about 2 meetings. And then they thought I wasn't going to tell them. I said, you know what? Everything y'all telling me, this is a place for no infection. What? Internationally, they're known for infectious diseases. Okay, how did my mama get all these freaking infections and viruses? How did she do that? And I said, why is my mama have me? We don't do that. You don't do that. Wait a minute, you did a brain surgery? And you put something in my mama's head, and you trying to tell me you let germs seep in there to get in her head to mess her up worse? You're not helping her like that. They didn't know I had a little medical record, medical code and stuff. They didn't know I knew that. So I'm looking at everything because I was injured. They did nothing. They set no bones from head to toe. I had to set my own bones, total paralysis. All these emotional organs got damaged, even the brain. You can touch my skull and feel a crack. But I had sense enough to wrap my skull and my jaw and all this and that. And I still got teeth coming out today from 15 to 20 years ago. About 15 years. Still got teeth coming out from the fall that they say all I need to do is get somebody contract x-ray that my bones is just an x-ray. It's gonna show what it's gonna see. I don't have every fracture it is almost like Eva Knievel. I'm sorry I don't went from mama to me. But it's just
Miss Tina, I didn't mean to interrupt you, sweetheart. Yeah. I do want the audience to get a clear understanding of your mom's situation and your situation as of right now, please.
Mm-hmm. Wait a minute, you want me to get on the radio now?
You are live speaking to the people.
Y'all have what? Oh, excuse me.
So, Miss Tina, if you can, Miss Tina, can you let the people know about the bed sore of your mother's condition before she passed? Please.
Yes, I do apologize, audience. My mother, when I seen that bed sore, you can stick your fist in there and I can jump my body in there. And I'm not exaggerating mildly, but the x-ray training I took, I could see her bones, the white part. I could see her tissue. Like they got the 3D x-ray. I saw all of that, and then it was the skin dripping like stretched rubber band. It was a foul smell, and then I seen this coloration of gray, yellow, brown. And I told them, I said, what is this? What is this? How did she get to stage this? And they told me the stage it was, which is stage 4, bed sores. Now, the research I've done, when you have one bed sore, they supposed to give you the main treatment so you don't extend and get to stage 4. Stage 4, that is sepsis if you do your research.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I was going to say. That, and for who doesn't know what sepsis is, it's an infection in your blood. It's an infection in your blood because there's nothing that anything like that, a sore, anything like that. Unfortunately for medical professionals, I have very extensive medical background. That is what I went to school for. So I'm very familiar. That's the first thing when you started describing it and not going into full detail that I thought about sepsis. I am, first of all, I'm disgusted with the care because you take an oath as a medical provider, right? To make sure that you nurture these patients. You don't just you have a degree to have a degree. You don't just have a job. You really care for people. That's why you go into that field. You care about making them feel better. Um, Tawanda has a quick question here, and I'm gonna go and ask you a few more questions. First question that she has for you is, who signed for your mother's surgery to be authorized?
I signed for the surgery. I told him verbally about the surgery, but it was one stent at first. Then they talked about another stent, and and they gave her they gave her about 3 pints of blood, 4 pints of blood, but they only got paperwork with 2. So, it's just very vague on that. I signed, not at the beginning, I verbally told him, yes, you have permission to give her that one stent. Since you said it's going to stop her bleeding. Okay. That's what I gave him. Now, the second time, I gave him a signature for, that, second stent, to my understanding. And then they kept saying, we're going to have surgery that Friday. And then Friday never got there. And some doctor called me saying that it was partially put in there. They wanted to see how she can handle it. But I know Mama had multiple surgeries on her skull, all around her head, because of the patches and band-aids. And this is nothing but an elaborate cover-up for some crazy stuff that they're doing over and over again. And this is what I saw. The research I did, they did pull my mama teeth out of her mouth and put some more teeth in her mouth. Can you believe that? I mean, they was a nice set, but I knew they wasn't hugs. And I said, what told them to do all that? But the research I did showed the front teeth is connected up to the brain part that makes you unresponsive. The memory and all this. And they kept telling me, your mother is unresponsive. Y'all did another extra amount of surgeries to make sure she's unresponsive. And I've been doing research on abused elderly people in these nursing homes and hospitals. Mm-hmm. And it's really upsetting to see how they smack you around. My mama ear was clipped. All of this and all of that. It's just ridiculous. How did she get to stage 4 when y'all got 24-hour service?
Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say. How, if you're in the hospital, obviously you're in a bed, so the possibility of a sore is there. But if you start treating it, right, it should never get to a stage 4. Never. And I've had family and I've dealt with patients who have been in those situations. So that's nearly impossible. Nearly impossible, guys.
And after sepsis to that degree, it comes shock. Mm-hmm. And then death. Now, that's about as long as my mama got here. I gave that man a letter, a 13-page notarized letter, telling about my concerns and all the stuff that I think. Now, they gave her, they would never tell us the kind of medication they gave her for pain. They were very minimal, everything very minimal. Okay, when I questioned them about all these marks, scrapes, and clips, well, I don't know. I have to check the record, her file. Ain't nobody got back to me yet. I mean, over and over and over and over. And it's just so draining. And then you got to keep your emotions together, and you looking at this, okay. And they kept trying to get us to send her back to that nurture home.
So
So
wait a
they can
minute, the
further.
bed sores happen at the nursing home or was it actually at the hospital?
Now this is what is amazing. The bed sores, I didn't get a chance to see that crap until she went to the nursing home and came back. She wasn't there but 3 or 4 days. They rushed her back to the Grady Hospital. They rushed her back to the hospital because they said she had a buildup of mucus. Y'all don't have they have a better a newer model unit to get the mucus cleared out of her chest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I have a story that's much, much deeper than this, but I'm just gonna stick with this as Mr. Charles said. I'm looking at marks. They gave her pints of blood and then I seen her break out. I said, what's that? I said, look at that red blister. What is that? And here come a light blister. I said, what happened to my mama here? All the blisters. And so what, how that happen? All this and all that. Look, Lord, it's just so much stuff. And they couldn't give me no answer. They'll check the file and get back with us and this and this and that. They gave us a list of places that we could check. One of them was a transmission plate. I'm like, what is you working with? Where did your degree come from? You didn't check that before you called me. You gave it to me. Okay, I'm gonna get back on this thing. This abuse has to stop with people going into the hospital and the nursing home. We have to come together and put some laws in motion. And this is what all I've been saying. We have to use our power and the numbers because this stuff is mostly happening to us anyway. You gotta say something?
No, I was saying absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Right. So, huh?
Miss Tina, I wanna share it with the people as well because I had firsthand knowledge on hand with some of these face-to-face person with some of these personnel that's worked at this particular hospital here in Atlanta. Miss Tina's mom was in hospice, and what led to what got me in an uproar is that there was a letter that was sent from the hospital itself asking for the medical records so we can do another personal interview and see where the malfeasance comes from. But there was a letter that they placed inside of to Ms. Tina on behalf of the statute code is 42 of USC 290, and it is a confidentiality of substance use disorder patient record. So what the hospital is doing out of 40 days. So we to the point now, if you are denied medical assistance, not treatment right now, we talking about assistance for her mother to be in hospital and be placed upon a dead stage of bed sore and allowing her to come home day before Christmas, when she did get a chance to spend time, Miss Tina did get a chance to spend time with her mom days before Christmas, then she passed. But that hospital was stressing to the point like you got to get her out of here, or time up, or Medicaid is not gonna pay for this. So we went over and over and over and over, and I got to the point where I witnessed the things that you guys wasn't doing every 2 hours, turning this young lady over so that she can be clean. So Miss Tina took upon herself as well as myself, went into the hospital and comb her hair. And that's what we see the excess blood that was left behind surgery that was done 30, 40 days ago. And so now my attitude was getting to the point where somebody got to do something now. I'm not leaving. We're not leaving. So they started doing their job. But it got to the point where Miss Tina pointed out to me of Shaw. and seeing the wound of her mother being so tiny and little. And I never witnessed it. I'm seeing so much stuff, wars, being in prison, but I never seen this type of neglect and place the body, the person, the living soul that is living upon her daughter to take care of without the proper training. And that was the problem with this hospital and Miss Sheila and her mother. With me, give her the proper training. Train me. I do it. But they didn't provide the proper training, and they let her mother go to a hospital that they use, a nursing facility that they use for elder people that don't have family support. And they attempted, and they did. When they attempted, we told them, do not send her there. They gave us a whole list of names where we can send her at. And it's new to me, new to her. And we asking, the council, hey, we don't know what you're doing. Can you help us out? No training, no too much of anything, man. And it got to the point where me and Miss Tina got to the point where if she gonna pass, then she'll pass at home where she belongs at. And a couple of days later, after Christmas, I couldn't take it. I couldn't even go back over there. From seeing, the bone inside of this woman. I never seen this type of, I never seen it. And it got so to the point where she did pass upon a shock. And it hurt me still to the day for this young lady to be passed without no proper attention and someone be held accountable to that. But they are using that statute, that federal statute, saying that you continue to act for these records, you will be incarcerated. So we will be standing in front and holding that hospital accountable for the malfeasance that they did to this young lady.
I do wanna stress, when it comes to elderly abuse, what Miss Shelli was talking about earlier, what Miss Tina, Mr. Brown are talking about now, that's elderly abuse. And to you people, and forgive me because this really angers me. To any of you people that are in the medical field and actually allow this to happen, don't forget, we'll be elders one day too. We'll be elders one day too.
Thank you for saying
How
that.
do you sleep at night? I could not sleep at night. There is no better feeling than coming in, talking to a patient, sitting down, rubbing lotion on their feet, helping them wipe, helping them be clean, because at least I speak for myself. I like being clean at all times. You can tell by looking at pictures of me. Oh no, she would be a person that likes to be clean. So why in the world, what would possess you? Oh, let me not do my job and let me not flip this patient, or let me not give them their medication, or not give them too much medication or whatever it is that they do. I'll tell you guys this a quick story. I had a friend who was a CNA. This was back in the 90s. This friend of mine told me, and I had to quit working at a nursing home. And I said, why is that? I thought nursing homes were good at one point in my life. And this friend of mine said, because I witnessed some of the most horrendous doing to older people, to our elders. And I said, what do you mean? I witnessed a guy wet a washcloth and hit this older person. And this person's still on my social media, so I'm not going to say any names, but you'll know who I'm talking about. This person was so horrified as they were telling me this story. They're like, Anna, I witnessed so many illegal things that I won't repeat to not put this person in any type of danger. They reported it and left. What was done, we'll never know. Because as far as I'm concerned, that place is still running because I've looked them up throughout the years. But that just goes to show, it's kind of like daycares. They just allowed anybody to run them. And guess what? Because somebody has Medicaid, let me tell you guys something. Because somebody has Medicaid does not mean that you can mistreat them. It's not a ticket to not approving certain things, because the hospitals have a law, in case you guys didn't know, that if you go and you speak to the building department, it's a stack of paper maybe like this. I'm not being funny. I'm being serious. Okay, it's almost like signing a mortgage. But what happens is that they turn around and they can excuse a lot of those bills. Okay, we can do that. And so there was no reason to do things like that. It's just a matter of what they'll do, what they won't do, and that just really aggravates me. I had a family member about they passed away due to COVID last year, but this family member went through the same thing. The problem was that it didn't get so bad because guess what? That family member had everybody in the family, all of us Latinos going in there and checking up on mama. And mama was going to be just fine. Mama was having attitudes telling on all the nurses whether they got mad or not because they were like, she didn't change me. She didn't give me my medicine. And you know what? We were on their case. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about. That's that unity. And we need to do that. We need to do that for our neighbor. We need to do that for Tina's mom. We need to do that for Mr. Thomas. We need to do that for Mr. Brown. We need to do that for Anna. Lord knows I may need it one day as much as I do for others.
Yeah,
you know,
we all will.
it's horrible to hear what these families have all been going through. Wait, you will be incarcerated for requesting medical records? Wait, did I miss something?
Hmm?
Tawanda, can you explain that? Did I miss something?
Oh,
Because Tawanda says, wait, you will be incarcerated for requesting medical records? Why? That should not, that you should be allowed to get all medical records, especially if you're next of kin. Especially if you would put.
Yeah, they're hiding something. They're hiding a whole lot, all of this abuse. That's what they're hiding.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you describe somebody putting a wet rag and whooping somebody, I went in there and seen my mama back, and I said, I told Charles, it looked like they think it's slavery. Somebody done turned my mama on her back and whipped her, and she got these long quilts on her back, and she never had it. And you ask them this stuff, they look like they don't know what you're talking about.
Like you're crazy.
Huh?
Like you're crazy. Like you're crazy. Miss Tina, like you're crazy. I'm telling you, because that's what they would do with us, and we'd be like, no, and we take pictures. We were that family you didn't want to be messed with because we were taking every time we saw her, we were like, she looks like this. I went in there one day to see her, and I'm like, what? And you haven't had a shower? And she was very clean. And she says, no. And I said, what do you, oh man, I went off. I'm like, how long does it take to give a patient a shower? So,
they said that's not responsibility.
No, that's what they get a good salary of at least $60,000 a year for. That's their responsibility.
I cut my mama hair because it was matted. I said, wait a minute, you telling me that after 3.5 months you want to tell me something about this my responsibility? What y'all doing? I seen y'all do something every now and then, but what? That don't add up. So then I started coming in there with my own black bag and my bag and rubbing my mama down, and I had to clean her nose out. It was so much stuff. Her lips was like layered with dry skin, and that's called a dehydration. So you trying to tell me y'all got 24-hour service and y'all ain't doing that? You all are not giving her. I just did research in the middle of the morning. Malnutrition and fluids equal to dehydration and can end up to be death. Y'all trying to kill my mama. Why do you want her here? To help do what you need to do or not? Now I'm asking them and asking them and asking them, they ignore. So I'm like, my mama's life would not be in vain. Because I promise you, long as I live, I'm putting a program and a package together that going to figure out how to create a law to help prevent this crap. Because all that research I did, that's on the gross negligence. Gross negligence is what a top John Hopkins University teacher said. This is gross.
Quick question. Is it possible, and Miss Shelli, because you're our master, like I say, in the law department, we all know, but I think you know more into detail than we do. Is it possible for us to make a law, maybe in her name,
yes, that's
for
the goal.
others?
That I already wrote it out. That's what I was like. A law in her name. No other person should not have done it. I evaluated all the things that I've experienced and observed and didn't like. Okay, when they first started showing first signs of dementia, we need to jump on their business really fast. Because we don't know how fast it's gonna go. And then they forget their money, they forget all this and all that. I found out all this other stuff. I had to take my time and go through stuff to find out. Mama never told me her business like that. And she was smarter than I thought. She just never told me. Yeah. I never knew things existed. So it's just a lot of things I saw. I will be putting a workshop together. I know how to put manuals and all that together. So I'm going to take my time based on my experience and learning. Intervention and prevention is what I've always been about. I will be putting a support group together for people that is experiencing it so I can talk to them and advise them based on my experience. No, that's a warning sign, baby. Now, this is what we're going to have to do. And we got to do that. We have to. And when y'all say about community, we need to have a community level that will meet with whoever they designate to meet about concerns and complaints. If they want to stop it, okay, well, this is a complaint. This is a concern. And you're going to have a lot of lawsuits if you don't work on figuring out something that works. And I did the research. They said, oh, well, we have a lot of things that we have done and we have updated, we changed, but nobody has really, they get the accreditation score.
Oh no. Hang on, you guys. I lost her. Calling Mr. Brown right now. Okay.
To what degree? To what degree abuse is? If they, let's say they don't know. Okay, well, let's teach you. Let's teach you. Pulling hair, playing with stuff, throwing stuff at people, and you can hit them in the eye. That's a borderline, yeah, you playing, but that's a borderline abuse. We got to use our head because they minds with dementia, they mind might say go to the left or go to the right, and you throwing something at them and playing, and you move to the side, you move to the side where the little stuff that you throw, hit them in the eye. That's a problem. It's a form of abuse. You got to find another way to play.
Absolutely.
At that age and stage.
Absolutely.
We got different levels. We got different levels of this stuff. We haven't been taught this. And I did all that research and last week and a half. I said, you know what? This is crazy. And like they said, in a form of finding solutions, you have to try things out. The man said, be creative. You know, some people respond when you speak a little louder because you don't know. They may have a hearing problem. And some people may respond when you speak calmly. Hello, Miss So-and-so. How are you doing today? Is everything all right? And they'll tell you, no, I don't want to speak to my daughter. I done seen my auntie flip out like that. I done seen my mama flip out like that. They and my aunt, they all want to go back home. Home is a place of comfort. Absolutely. Something they look forward to. Absolutely. So you have to calm them, calmly talk to them. And if you don't know what to do, they'll give you the answer if you listen.
Absolutely. They're like kids. They're like kids. I always say that's the time where they go back to being children. And if you can't handle it, if I'm for real, don't do the job. Just don't do the job. Same as teachers. Don't work with kids, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. The more I'm listening to this, like, I don't know if you guys hear it in my voice. I'm getting really angry. Like, now I want to go just visit any random patient and just be like, are you being treated good? Do we need to help bathe you? Because I'll make sure your nurse comes in, and bathes you or whatever. And this is what I talk about, the love for our community. Where does it stop? When are we going to be there? When are we going to be there for each other? When is it going to stop? Because somebody might have Medicaid today, but let me tell you something, maybe work their whole entire life and at their old age needed Medicaid, Medicare, whatever you call it. Seriously? So now we got to mistreat them because they don't have the big dollars, right? Saved up for you to get into their money. Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And I don't mean that in a positive way. I'm being very sarcastic.
It's terrible. Right.
Mr. Charles, Tawanda said, and I want to make sure we clarify that because I think I missed something that you said. And then she says, I thought that that's what Mr. Charles stated when he read the code. So is that what you stated?
What I stated about the code dealing with Miss Tina was 42. C like in cat, F like in Frank, R like in ride, part 2. As you read that statute in that code, it are telling me and Miss Tina when we received the letter 35 days ago, where it was saying we requested for medical records. She POA. She have authority to ask for this stuff on behalf of her mother. But the administration sent back a threat letter with this code saying if you keep asking for these letters, we don't care about no POA. If you keep asking for these medical records, we're going to use this statute and put you in prison. So that's the letter that we will be providing to you guys. But that's the statute that they are using with us.
To try to trick you and scare you off.
As you read the statute, right, as you read the statute, you'll see it'll have no bearing with a POA. But if you're not a POA and you are a family member, please read that statute because I'm just not getting my hands on it and reading it directly all the way to the core of it. It has nothing to do with me and Miss Tina, but it is a scare tactic. But we're gonna see how scary they can be because we want to challenge it. We want to see it. We want to see those records. We want to make sure there was no fraud, Medicaid fraud coming from this medical facility against this young lady that just passed.
And that's what I was going to say, Mr. Charles. That's exactly what was crossing my mind. I guarantee you, without knowing who the facility is or anything, that they stated that they gave her the help for all of that and billed Medicaid. And guess what? That's a felony, guys. That's a felony, and you could be facing jail time for that. Prison time. It is serious stuff. Now, finally, I have to ask because I know Miss Shelli has already waved to me that her time is very, very short now. Is there any final thoughts for any of you? And I'd like for everybody to give their contact info. And of course, I would love to do this as much as possible. We go and we come on a panel and we handle business, take one case at a time and talk about it for the next, I think it's like 47 weeks we have left of the year or something like that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this information that you've been, Miss Tina, have been given, it just falls back to the original, as we talked about elderly abuse and her case, her mom's cases as well, elderly abuse, and needs to be looked into because I'm thinking that there's a bit of I'm looking for a word here, where you don't have many people that are looking into what's going on to the elderly. And so they just act like, well, they're old, or is that, they might go to look towards something else, but it's being neglected with the level concerning with elderly people. sometimes that's why certain things comes our way, come to my desk. Maybe, with Mr. Thomas's situation, um, it, his death will connect with what happened to Miss Tina's mom and so many other different people. And sometimes when you talk about it or brings it up, that's when you're going to know about other cases of elderly abuse that the people may not know what to do. They may not have resource. They might just not know, it just happened and they're old and they die and that's it. And so that's not the case. It shouldn't be that way. All life is precious, whether you're young or you're old or whatever. And it should not, you shouldn't die because you're old or someone mistreats you when you die, but no one
Absolutely.
looks into it or do anything about it. So that's why we have to come together, as I said before, as a community together and address these type of,
These issues.
yes.
Mhm. I agree. I agree. That was beautifully said, Miss Shelley. Final thoughts for you, Miss Tina, and we'll leave our gentleman for last.
Okay. Well, I would like to create a support group
Okay.
with the pulling the volume together and use that power to create a law. Definitely the generic ranking project, because nobody should have to go through that. And when I did the research and found out that, stage 1, that means get on your guard. It should never make it stage 4 for no one. That's additional billing. That's what that is. Be able to additionally bill and it's all about money on that note. And so I think we need to get the support group together where people can come, like you said, that you all talk about the community, bringing the community together to discuss that. All of those levels to protect the elderly, that has to be hand in hand. The law, support group, and a workshop, a training workshop that teaches them. I had already started writing on it to teach them warning signs. If you don't know what elderly abuse is, come to this class and learn what elderly abuse is in all the different levels, so you don't fall short in there. So you become educated to protect yourself. Okay, and then the other part is we're gonna implement it. We're gonna pass it on, put it in a community. Try to put it in every what you call that, county, like a model. So they cannot say nobody knows. And it seems to be a need for a home for them to escape. If they have to escape, maybe they scared to tell someone they're abusing them to that level.
I agree.
And if they are scared, they won't say nothing because you want to tell on them and sit right across the table from them, and then have to be terrified on if they're going to make their next move. So we have to give them a place to go when we go to protect them like that, while we put everything else in sync. So that's all I'm saying is a support group, put a project, a program together, put a law together, and teach the community and have those chapters in let's say each county. That would be lovely.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Your heart is in the right place. Tina,
And
when it comes to elderly support, as well as children and the disabled, anything that you guys need Anna to come in, my heart, I'm there. We can start these support groups. Hey, it might be 2, 3, 4 of us just starting, but I guarantee you that it will grow because it's happened to somebody at one point or another. And I'm going to remind each and every one of you guys listening, and listen very closely. If we make it to old age, we will be in those shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So be careful what you do to others.
Exactly.
Because life has a way. So you want to call it the yin and the yang, boomerang, karma. I'm a Christian, so I say you reap what you sow.
Yes, a question for Miss Tina, and real briefly, I have to go, to my husband to give him medications and that. Well, so Miss Tina, you said that at the hospital that they removed your mom's teeth from her mouth and then put new ones in. What do you think the reason that we'd want to do that? And that you may not have the reason why people violate the law or do illegal stuff, but do you ever thought that maybe why they might have want to do that? She probably didn't hear me. Miss Tina.
Tina,
Mm-hmm.
so Miss Shelli is asking, do you have any idea at the hospital that your mother's teeth were taken out and a new set of teeth put in? The reason for that?
Well, scientifically, based on the research I embarked on, those front teeth goes up to the part of the brain that makes them unresponsive. And so it appears that they have created a problem that did not have to be to that level. Yes, you put a stent to stop the bleeding, and then you said you needed another stent. Okay, but now where those stents are and everything goes deep into the brain. But those teeth in the front, if you Google the front teeth, what part, if the teeth up there in the front all get pulled off in the front of the top, what part of the brain does those nerves go to that will stop their memory, stop the concentration, make them unresponsive? It's gonna tell you. So I have done all that research. I got skeletals and muscular charts and all that.
Okay.
So,
yes, ma'am. So, of course, we have to come together as a community.
Yeah, so this is what I'm saying. Sometimes they'll do something on one part of the body that will trigger another part of the body, and you don't have a clue. You just know what they tell you. Your mother is unresponsive. I said she came in here walking. When she got sick, she was walking. Where her legs at? They're all the way up your body? Almost. By her stomach. Now that's some crazy stuff. And they acting like they don't know what happened. What you mean you don't know what happened? She been in your chair. Her legs was all the way down at the bottom of that thing. Mama 5'7". Now all of a sudden, she been here for some weeks. Somewhere in the coming in here, you got the cover over her. So I was not even thinking other than she just got her legs like that. Your mother legs, what is that? Constrict or something like that? Mm-hmm. Now, part of her brain is not allowing her to move. Right along with them unnecessary surgeries that you did, I'm sure, that made her, contributed to her being unresponsive. They don't tell you what pain medication they give you. They're very, very vague. Oh, she's not in any pain. But see, I would tell you something else, but I might need that for the future references, and I have to go upside the head with the facts. But still, I got this answer for you. You didn't know that was coming. It's boom, boom, boom. But see, they had all these codes and stuff, and I know these codes because I went straight to the little old Google and Googled it. Oh, say that's something for something else. Jaw surgery. I ain't about to ask me for that. Oh, y'all doing jaw surgery, mama. That's what that code is. Her jaw, she got all this stuff up on her face that wasn't supposed to be on her face. It's just ridiculous the stuff they have. So I promise you that I will be putting together all this stuff that I remember and reevaluate, so I can put down an intervention and prevention program, one assigned to family. So when you go in there, you look, oh, wait a minute, what's what we did? Mm-hmm. And I asked a bunch of questions and trusted them to come back to me, and then time got by and I had to leave. I will put something together that you answer the questions and your chain of command, how to deal with it right away. You don't need too much time to get between that.
All right.
Don't get more time to continue to play with her, operate on her. Hmm?
Absolutely. And Tina, I'd like to send my condolences to you for losing your mother, because that's gotta hurt. I couldn't imagine not having my mother. She'll be 70 this year, and This angers me because if they mess with my mama, ooh, this is not the Anna, the calm, cool, and collective Anna. You will see the fiery Latina side come back on.
I see the fire already.
Mr. Charles, your final thoughts. Miss Tina, I really want to bring her back and really speak with her and get the support groups going for her, even if we start just by Zoom. Hey, it's a start. That's how we start.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And for you, Mr. Charles.
Yeah. As for the final thought, my only final thought is continuing what we're doing now. That's my final thought. And to encourage the audience as well as Miss Shelli, myself, as well as Miss Tina, as well as you, Miss Anna, is that what we're doing, we got a long way to go. I take pride in what we already have done, but the degree that we are in, we're going to need this support system. We're going to need it now, not tomorrow, not next week. We need it now because it don't make no sense to protest and march when you're not in the courtroom to support the issues that we are having here in Georgia. Innocent people getting killed without a weapon, houses being taken illegally amongst fraud, and using the mass incarceration to keep the black people incarcerated. So those are the three issues that we have here in Georgia, and we can please attack those three issues, and then we can see a good change, man. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in, listening, and giving us the opportunity to hear and discuss what we're going through now.
Absolutely. I thank each and every one of you guys for coming on. Thank you. I will see you guys next time. Huge hug to all of you guys. God bless you guys. And again, thank you. Thank you, Miss Tina, for coming on.
Thank you so much, Miss Anna. Thank you.
All right. God bless you guys.
God bless you too.
Bye-bye. And the final thing I want to say before getting off is that, of course, and I have to say the statement every show when it's like this, to avoid any type of repercussions, right? This is their truth. This is what they're stating that they believe to be truth. Their allegations, right? So this is all alleged until we go to court and everything's proven and their innocence or whatever, or their truth is proven in court. I just have to state that because I was once threatened with a lawsuit. So I make sure that I make that statement every show after. Miss Shelli, God bless you so much. And thank you again for coming on Lunchtime with Anna. A huge hug to you. You have my number. Call me anytime. All right. Bye. And I'll see you guys Wednesday with Abdul Shakur. If you guys go down my feed on Lunchtime with Anna, you guys will see his interview. It was really, really, really good. And that'll be part 2. And then I'll see you guys next Saturday, as long as Miss Shelli and them want to come up next Saturday or Friday, whatever, to talk about their cases one by one. God bless y'all. Ciao. See you guys.
The funeral is Saturday.
Huh?
The funeral will be Saturday.
Oh, that's right. The funeral, I want to do that virtually. So you know what? If you have time Friday evening, we can do it Friday evening. That would work out just fine for me. Just let me know. You guys can call me or whatever, and we'll take care of it from there, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Bye. God bless you guys. We'll see you guys. Actually, I'll be back on tomorrow doing a quick inspirational Bible with Christy at 10 a.m. God bless y'all. Bye.